WKRK-FM and HD1 Cleveland Heights. An Odyssey Sports Station.
92.3 The Fan, 2020 Sports.
This 2020 Sports brought to you by Kimball Recycling and Disposal. Kimball provides dependable residential and commercial waste services tailored to your needs. Visit KimballCompanies.com to request a quote today. Cavaliers looking to bounce back after starting their road trip with a loss Friday night at Phoenix. Last night in Portland, the mighty Fro led the way for the Cavs against the Blazers.
Allen looks for help. Finally gives to Tyson. Tyson works inside Sharp. Tyson. Allen's there. Jared Allen now has 14 rebounds and 38 big points.
Kersey Cavs, FanDuel Sports Network, Ohio. Good guys win at 131-11. Allen career high 40 points, added 17 rebounds. First player in franchise history with 40 points and at least 15 boards in a regular season game. Donovan Mitchell named a reserve for the upcoming NBA All-Star Game in Los Angeles. Marks the 7th consecutive All-Star appearance for Mitchell, 4th in a row as a member of the Cavs. Cavs made it official on Sunday, part of a 3-team trade. The Cavs sending DeAndre Hunter to Sacramento. Cavs get back Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis from the Kings. NBA trade deadline coming up Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Reports say the Browns going to be hiring Mike Bajakian to be their new quarterbacks coach. Meanwhile, the French news outlet RMC Sports reporting that the Browns going to take on the Saints in the first ever NFL regular season game to be played in Paris. The report says the game will happen on October 25th. Don't miss the 92.3 The Fan off-season special. Get the latest on the Browns tonight from 7 to 9. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time for the Ken Carman Show and Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
Absolutely love the hire. The last time he was a head coach, and he does have 3 years of head coaching experience, his last year he was the Conference USA Coach of the Year. They were 0-12 the year before he got there. Then Georgia was always just defense, defense, defense. They didn't win national championships until he went there, and they win back-to-back national championships. Then he goes to Baltimore, and Lamar Jackson had already been an MVP once. By any measure, he got Lamar as a passer to improve greatly. I think he's just a great football coach, and I love this for Cleveland.
Catch Odyssey NFL insider Ross Tucker on Afternoon Drive every Wednesday at 4. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Tonight we're gonna take no prisoners.
The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
Porter goes to Allen. Now it's Merrill. Merrill wants that three. Rupert's out there with him. Jared Allen is a man possessed. Wow. He is putting on a clinic. Allen looks for help. Finally gives to Tyson. Tyson works inside Sharp. Tyson. Allen's there. Jared Allen now has 14 rebounds and 38 big points.
Best I've ever seen him play. I've seen him play a lot of games. It's the best I've seen him. And not just the points. I know everybody's going to talk about the points, but the rebounds, the defense. It was surreal from the get-go, right? From the tip. He just completely dominated the match. Glad he got it, and it's nice getting it in a win, a nice victory, nice bounce-back victory for us. We're super skilled. That's not saying it arrogantly. We have a very, very skilled team. Pass the ball, a credit to how skilled our players are. He's more skilled than I even think. Does that make sense? Like, sometimes I'm like, I put him in a box. I got to maybe think a little differently how we use him, because that was a revelation.
This is Cleveland's Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Audio courtesy of FanDuel. Another win for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They can't be stopped. Switch has been flipped. We'll discuss some more in a moment. Lima scared the bejesus out of me on the way in today. He snuck up behind me, Owen.
In the garage.
In the garage.
Twinkle toe style with your
It
hands.
was like a cat burglar.
Yeah.
Yes, it was bad. It was terrifying.
Well, normally in that garage, I am very mindful. Let's face it, I'm mindful of women and scaring women that I don't ever want that to happen. It's a garage. It's how early in the morning. That's got to be the biggest fear of anybody, not just women. That's got to be the biggest fear ever, that somebody approaches you in a garage.
Yep.
And I'm always very mindful of that. Like, I kind of I'll sometimes make noise. I'll actually make noise, like start singing to myself. I've done this
that
before.
Doesn't throw anybody off.
I've done it so
Man singing to himself.
What's the...
You could just cough.
What's the alternative? What's the alternative?
I try to get on my phone. I feel the same exact way you do. I actually had a moment today where I was going across the street, and because there was a car coming, I went walking down the street a little bit, and there was a car that was running, and their lights were on like they were parked, and they must have been waiting on something. And as I was approaching, I think they saw me in their rearview mirror, and they pulled out and drove off and then pulled back up further up down the road. I'm like, I'm just trying to cross the street. I didn't mean to scare you, but at the same time, it's like, ran a little late today. So it was like 5:10, 5:15 in the morning. I'm like, oh, boy. They didn't like what they saw behind them. And why would you? Yeah. Great big sweaty fat person walking in the middle of the wintertime. You don't need to be bothered by that. I don't blame that person. But this morning it was
all systems go because I noticed he did not hear me coming.
No.
There was no, I couldn't tell if he had headphones in or anything. So I started getting closer and closer.
I did not hear you. I did not hear you. And I turned around and he startled me so badly. It was almost like a heart attack startle.
I wanted to start singing the Cape Fear music.
Oh my God! No, I thought I heard something. You're like, yeah, I was singing the Italian song from the Wiggles. I was like whispering it quietly,
Can't get it out of my head.
I was like, I thought I heard something. I didn't hear nothing. He's very, very quiet. Anyway, it's the time of year where I'm going to get to the Cavs here in a second because I know that there's people talking about big swings. You did not know that the Phoenix Coyotes, Arizona Coyotes, had moved to Utah.
This is one of those things that Ken dropped on me because we did a lot of extensive hockey prep before the show. And he mentioned a Utah Mammoth, and Owen and Ken had a dialogue that words were whizzing by me. And sometimes I look up because I'm logging in, getting my email and getting my X, getting my blue ski, getting everything going. And then all of a sudden I go, did you just say the Utah Mammoth? I said, what hockey league? And I wasn't trying to be funny. I was like, is that EHL? Is that where is that? What do they do? And Ken goes, they're an NHL team?
They're an NHL. Yeah, you didn't know who the Utah Mammoth were.
No, they are not an NHL team.
Yeah. They are the former
They're
Phoenix.
technically an expansion team.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm reading now. But as everyone knows, their AHL affiliate is the Tucson Roadrunners, which just tells you that they had a relationship with Phoenix.
I just wanted to make sure.
When you're talking Roadrunners hockey.
Because I was pretty sure, but I wasn't too sure, and I took the tone like I was basically grapes cherry. I was like, oh, yeah, you don't know that? Come on. You don't know.
Well, I don't know because I don't watch SportsCenter anymore. And I don't have a way that I would have ever come across this. This is their first year.
I'm telling you, man, SportsCenter was far better when they just did replays in the morning. You were a smarter sports fan when they just did replays in the morning because they did 1 hour and it was taped and all they showed was highlights. And so you knew who all the 90s hockey players were. You knew who all the 90s tennis players were. Like, you don't know, like, there are so many things you have become so much more, like, specialized in as a fan. Like, how many NASCAR drivers do you know from the 90s right off the top of your head? I bet you could name 5 off the top of your head from the 90s. Right now.
Ooh, from the 90s?
I bet you can name 5 off the top of your head. There's one. I'll spot you the one. You obviously know the one.
Yes.
Okay.
R.I.P.
Yeah. Okay, there's one.
Mm-hmm. Tim Richmond, yeah.
Well, I don't know. Did he?
Dick Trickle.
Did he make it? Dick Trickles, too?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not trying to be, like, nasty about it. Did he get to the 90s? I'm not trying to be unfair.
Wait, Dick Trickle did.
Well, yes, obviously.
He did not.
Tim Richmond passed away either in the late 80s or early 90s. Okay, you
89.
got 2. 89. Ooh. So he's not part of the 90s, sad to say. Great driver. Probably would have cost Dale Earnhardt a championship. Born in Ashland, Ohio. There was the bar dedicated to him. I don't think it's open anymore. All right, you got 2. R.I.P. Come on, you don't know 90. You're destroying my point
Kyle.
here.
The M&M car.
No.
Who was the M&M car?
The M&M car was around in the 90s, but you don't have the driver.
Okay.
He doesn't have the driver.
That guy named Kyle did drive it, but it's not the Kyle that we were alluding to,
No. Kyle drove it, but in the 2010s. Right. Kyle, there's another Kyle.
There's a very famous Kyle.
Oh, my God.
From a famous lineage.
You just destroyed it. You destroyed my point. Lima, there's like 8 guys named Dale.
Hold on.
For the love of God. You can't name.
Waltrip.
That's Daryl Waltrip. I'm going to count it. That's
unless
3.
you short it.
By the way, you know what? I'm going to tell you that about his brother during the break. That
Who's
might
the guy
not be,
that had the DuPont car?
Very interesting news.
John
Jarrett.
DuPont, yeah.
You're being an idiot. It was not Jeff
DuPont.
Gordon. Yes, it was Jeff Gordon.
Yes.
That's 4. That's 4. Give me a 5th. Come on.
Let me think.
Come on.
There were no females back then.
Yes, there were.
Of course
there were?
Well, there was
Nancy Lopez.
No. It was not Nancy Lopez. Nancy Lopez.
He's in the skort.
You psycho.
Big skort.
Dr. Jerry Punch.
Dr. Jerry Punch.
Jerry
yes.
Punch never drove. He just saved a NASCAR champion's life one time.
Did he ever get hit by a car?
No.
He's right there.
He might have. I don't know. He might have on pit road. I know that.
There's a
The
guy.
one time. Well, I can't say the name because it's going to give him the one name. Come on.
There's a guy
why
with a fish name.
You're being a jerk on purpose.
No, I'm not.
You're being a jerk on purpose. You know exactly.
Bodine.
There's 3 of them. Name one.
Jeff.
There you go.
Now spell it.
Now spell it.
Geoff.
There you go.
Sindelar.
Or for a little time, he wanted to go as Jeffrey for a while. He was a good driver.
Wait, he was the prince of.
I don't know, man.
NASCAR?
He went through a weird phase. I think when he owned
He
his
was
own
the butler of NASCAR.
when he owned his own team, I think he wanted to go as Jeffrey.
And did they race for the Winston Cup?
Yes, they did.
Yes, it's coming back.
Back when men were men.
It's coming back.
Were they still in 2005? Was it still? It wasn't Winston Cup anymore. Was it Nextel then?
I assume it was Nextel. By then.
All I remember is when I went to that. Oh, it's not all I remember. When I went to the Daytona 500 in 05, it was. I cannot tell you how many tins of free dip I came home with.
Oh, I got another one.
It
Just
was
came to me.
sleeve after sleeve. Yes,
Rusty Wallace.
Rusty Wallace, who we've had on the show.
Never won the Daytona 500.
Never won the Daytona 500. He did win the 1989 NASCAR Winston Cup Championship, though. I think I could do 90s NASCAR champions.
Oh, I know
like
you
Pony
could.
does MVPs of the NCAA tournament. Anyway, short story made incredibly long because Lima was sandbagging me.
The longest story.
The longest story. Sports Center was better when it was just replays because then we knew who all the hockey players were. We knew who all the hockey teams were. Like, do you understand the Winnipeg Jets are a team again?
No, I would not have believed that either.
The Winnipeg Jets are a team again.
Hartford Whalers?
The Hartford Whalers are not, even though the fine people of Hartford fight for their Whalers to come back at any moment. That was always a big thing when Phoenix wasn't Arizona, whoever, Tucson, whatever, Flagstaff, whatever they were calling themselves. That was one of the big fights.
Okay, top 5 points leaders right now in the NHL.
In the NHL?
I've heard of one of them.
Okay, hold on. As far as players?
Yes.
Okay,
I've heard
go
of
ahead.
one. Connor McDavid.
Okay, that's easy.
He's number one.
Yeah.
Nathan McKinnon.
No.
Nope. Nikita Khrushchev.
That is not a hockey player that was the premier of the Soviet Union at one point.
Nikita Kucherov.
Is that real?
That's real.
Okay.
Macklin Celebrini.
He used to come on the show and then he'd stiff to us about it.
And finally, we Celebrini'd it. Finally, Leon Draisaitl.
You making that up?
I am not.
Okay.
Do you want to play this game?
No.
You're not Leon in the front end and Draisaitl in the back end. That's
I don't want to go, oh, yeah, I know who that is. And you're like, I just made it up. And I go, oh, no, I heard a name like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely heard a name like that. Fine. All right. Can you brush up on hockey during the breaks?
I will, because David Pasternak would not be happy.
I can't
just
believe you
wait
did.
until the hockey charts.
I just know who the teams are. How do you not know who the teams are?
Nor would Mikko Rantanen.
How is it bad for Lima as a radio show host to not know that the Utah Mammoth are an actual NHL team?
Depends. Do they have Nick Suzuki on that team?
Just making things up.
You know Seattle has a team, right?
Kitty Kafelnikov.
I'm just thinking of NASCAR drivers from the 90s in my head. So the Cavs made a trade. That's how we move on. Cavs made a trade. DeAndre Hunter didn't want to be here. He's not here. They completed a 3-team trade. You got Dennis Schroeder, and you got a little bit back. I mean, Keon Ellis and all the other ones. The big question is you got until the end of the 5th in the afternoon to make a move. Is this by Thursday? Is this the last week Darius Garland is on this basketball team?
Oof.
And the reason I ask is I know we've been through this before, gentlemen. But the reason I ask is that we keep hearing about the Cavs. Oh, they're going to take big swings. They're going to take big swings. They're going to take a big swing. And I'm like, I don't know how they can make a big swing, guys. I don't know how they can take a big swing. I with the second apron, I mean, the way it's almost explained to me, again, you can match up salary, but you have to have a team that wants your undersized guard. And so because we do this so often, it makes me not want to discuss trading Darius Garland because I don't want to say a bunch of reasons to trade Darius Garland and then at the same time have to battle the people who think that this team is far better without Darius Garland on the floor. See, that's my issue. That's my issue with all this, is that when you have the Darius Garland conversation, you're almost a person without a country here. Because in the first vein, I can't trade him. If you wanted to trade him for a wing, I'm all ears. But also at the same time, I'm still the same person who goes, as they are made up as of right now, with their current team, with the current way that they're structured, they're not, I do not believe, and we did this before during the postseason last year, they are not better without Darius Garland. They're playing great regular season basketball right now. They got out and ran. Jared Allen had 40. It was
Where did that come
career
from?
high.
Holy cow.
Well, I mean, you said it yourself. I mean, good God, the Blazers weren't going to run with you last night, so you got out and ran, and they threw the ball to the block, and they threw the ball to him, and he was able to go out and just get out in front of people and was able to put up 40 points.
Did he see his name in some of these rumored trades? DeAndre Hunter, that happened, and you saw the Laker game. He had his best game of the year.
Yeah, but
last week against the Lakers.
And that's fair, but I think you still see some of this stuff. It's like, well, I think a guy like Jared Allen wants to be on a competitive team. It's still a competitive team. I mean, right now you're 30-21. You're playing the best basketball you have all year, Jared Allen included, himself personally. But you're 30-21. The team's doing really well right now. And I'm telling you right now, we know from experience, knowing somebody, the doldrums of being traded to a bad basketball team off a good basketball team in the middle of the year. To go from, all right, we're getting ourselves hyped up for possibly a postseason run to, okay, it's now February and we have just a few months left to go in the basketball season. We're counting down the days. That's a big jump and can be quite depressing for a really good basketball player, or at least a basketball player on a really good team. So maybe that speaks to something. I just didn't think DeAndre Hunter wanted to be here. So I thought they basically did him a favor.
It sucked because the DeAndre Hunter they traded for that turned
was not
it
the guy
on.
They traded.
Well, the guy that turned it on last year went on a tear shooting wise, fit in seamlessly with the Cavs.
Yes.
Remember they were dominant. Cavs were dominant. Then they traded for Hunter, and I think there was 1 week where they may have kind of struggled, and after that he took off. Then they had the Miami series where everybody was so good, and he was chief among them. Then he had game 1 of the Pacers series last year, and he was one of those guys that was ready to mix it up in that series, and he was actually hitting some threes. Then he dislocated his finger.
Yeah.
And then that was it for them. That was it for the series. Things went south once they blew that game 1. And then he was a shell of himself all year. And what I found interesting was that obviously they prioritized getting out from his money because it could provide some flexibility once they get rid of Lonzo Ball, and that can't come soon enough. Watched him last night in the first half, like unplayable again. And yet they can dump him. And
just physically can't do it anymore. They got to.
I don't know what is going on, but they wanted the flexibility. But what stinks is they're right back to where they were when it comes to wings. Now that's just Jalen Tyson. They're putting all the cards in the Jalen Tyson basket, and he's only played 12 minutes in the playoffs. I love that kid, but you're leaving yourself no margin for error. So the bigger question is, are more moves coming? And so the rest of the league seems to think there are.
Are you open to moving on from Darius Garland? Because I just don't think anything's realistic. 216-474-0092. I want to ask you when we come back. All that, and if you pack your orange and brown and leave, you don't matter. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live in the Fan.
Public Transit. Log your trips for a chance to win weekly prizes. Visit noaca.org for details.
The home of Westwood One's coverage of the Super Bowl.
Please welcome the Vince Lombardi Trophy.
We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Daryl Ryder coming up at 8:20. I had a spicy one for you coming up at 7. Based on how we left the show on Friday. Very spicy. I might have to ask Daryl about that coming up at 8:20. Also, if you packed up your brown and orange, you don't matter. More on that coming up here in a bit. I'm in a weird... You thought it was interesting I would say this about Darius Garland. Like, I think that if you're talking about big swings, he's the first guy that people think of. It's been like, well, the Cavs can make a big swing. The rumors are Cavs can make a big swing by the trade deadline on Thursday. They're playing tremendous basketball. They're doing it without Darius Garland on the floor. And we've done this a time or two. So I'm in a place where I don't think they should trade him because I don't think that there's anything realistic to trade him for. Are you getting Giannis with Darius Garland's contract?
Well, he's been mentioned. He's absolutely been mentioned in some of the Giannis deals.
Yeah, you can mention it all you want, but I just don't think it's going to seriously happen. If you can pull it, I will come in here Friday shocked to bejesus if something like that were to happen. But I can't find myself doing it. So now I'm like, well, I don't want to sit here and talk a bunch of trash about Darius Garland because when we get him back, I think we're going to need Darius Garland. So so I'm in a spot where, like, I don't think that he's tradable for a wing that's going to be a difference maker for this basketball team where you can add up all the salary and actually make the thing work because you're in the second apron. And I don't think that you're a better basketball team as you are currently built without him on the floor. Now, yeah, obviously, if you added Giannis to the equation, yeah, you'd be a better basketball team, obviously, without Darius Garland on the floor. But I just don't think that these are realistic things. And I think we've done this now over the last couple of years. I think we've done this even with Jarrett Allen, is we end up saying things that we get excited about these other players because they're not the LeBron-era Cavaliers. This is a good basketball team, but there were some of these guys, it was just you did not have the conversation. It was unfounded that you would trade any one of the three guys of the big three during the second LeBron run. This, I think the only person that's really untouchable for a lot of fans right now is Donovan Mitchell. I think that the conversation has been opened up among the fans, even though I don't think the Cavs would ever move on, but the conversation has been moved amongst the fans about Evan, certainly Darius, and certainly Jarrett. And I just don't think you'd have those conversations. But I'm telling people, you got to be careful about how we feel about this because a lot of what we say, and because of social media, a lot of what you say is public record. We all have to answer to this, and this is still a good basketball team.
We've been bandying about Darius Garland's name in trades for 2 years. And you know, after last year's disappointing flameout, a lot of it had to do, yes, Darius was injured. And he tried to play through it. And somehow that in some Cavs fans... in their heads, they started going after him for being soft, and it's like, no, he's literally playing through an injury.
That was something.
But my thing was, when are you going to be able to count on Darius Garland in the playoffs? At what point? You know, he has been in the league long enough that, you know, you'd think there'd at some point be proof of concept. At some point, you would have big playoff moments, and you really haven't, which is pretty crazy for somebody as talented as Darius is.
I understand that.
And in this league, you know, there is the thought, there are guys that they raise their game in the playoffs. You know, I brought up guys like Alex Caruso, right, in the past. They've been able to take on kind of a new persona come playoff time.
You count Tyler Hero, you just say that's bubble.
Yeah, I didn't really.
Yeah,
I never really counted.
I just wanted to ask. Go ahead.
But no, fair question. TJ McConnell was another one last year.
Okay,
you saw, oh my God, you're like,
yeah.
I didn't know that he was capable of doing those kind of things. Well, this is year 7 for Darius, and unfortunately, and it's not all his fault, but unfortunately, he's never really had those playoff moments to hang his hat on. That guys, like even Trae Young, who nobody would want Trae Young here, right? Trae Young has had unbelievable playoff moments, burying teams on the biggest stage.
Yes, he has.
Getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. Well, Darius hasn't done any of that, and he's never even been asked to be the best player in the team. He's been asked to be the second or third best player in the team, and he's failed to do so. So that's why I think it's fair game to talk about big swings. Now, short of big swings, do you trade Darius?
We're talking about it, certainly. It's not that I won't listen to it. Like I think I'd always listen to Darius Garland trade stuff. I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead with what you were saying. But it's like, well, we can have the conversation.
So the Giannis situation, this seems to be growing in sentiment now that they traded Hunter, and it's kind of like, man, they have no margin for error at the most important position right now in hoops, which is a wing. They only have Jalen Tyson. He's only played 12 minutes in the playoffs ever. I do think his game translates to the playoffs, but it's a lot to ask. So the thought is, what else is coming? What other moves could be around the corner for the Cavs in a wide-open East? You saw the statement yesterday by Kobe Altman. Mm-hmm. He could not stress enough how wide open the East was. Well, if the East is this wide open, are you just standing pat now based on Keon Ellis and saying, that's it?
No.
We can take the East, or are you thinking, I want to get greedy now?
No, I think that we are going to hear about them sometime in the next 3 days, about them being connected to a certain trade. And I say certain trade, like I'm just saying in general, either it be Giannis, Michael Porter Jr., one of the other names that could possibly be on the move. I think you will hear about the Cavs being connected to those things. It's not that I'm in the know of it. I'm just taking a swing at it because I think you're right. I think that there's an opportunity there, and if they could take the opportunity to try to cash things in, because I think that I think in a moment of honesty, Kobe Altman would tell you we're stuck. And I think a lot of fans would know that they're stuck, and he wouldn't be breaking any news, but it would be one thing for the Cavs to admit that they're stuck. They're stuck. I mean, you're the most expensive roster. There's not much you could do. If there's anything, and I don't know anybody who takes them while the East is wide open, the way you say it, and it's absolutely true. Who takes them as a serious threat to come out of the Eastern Conference? They've played much better, but who really takes them as a serious threat? And this team isn't built to be building anymore. This team is built to be a serious threat. And if you have built this a year or two behind to where the curve goes in the NBA, you need to do something to jumpstart it here. It's going to end up being your job. So you have to do something. And if you can make something happen for Giannis or Porter Jr. or any one of the names, you go right on ahead and do so. I'll support you in 100% because you only have so much time. Because I am convinced, if this goes south this postseason, if this ends up like a second round exit, I think that some heads may roll, some guys may go, some guys may want out, very publicly may want out. It might be the head of the snake and Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, well, Donovan Mitchell, next year is the final year under team control of Donovan Mitchell. After that, he has a player option. And what do we know about stars that have only 1 year left on their contract that aren't getting past a certain point in the playoffs? What do they do in the NBA? They ask out. Mm-hmm. They force trades. They do them behind the scenes. And the Cavs, everything they do has to be with the knowledge of you've got a superstar player who's, again, is playing like a top 5, top 7 player in the league. Yeah. And you want to make sure that you're maximizing that runway with him at his peak. Donovan is still at his peak. How much longer will he be that, and how satisfied will he be if they don't make a run in the playoffs this year?
Trevor in Broadview Heights, you're first up on the Fan. Hello, Trevor.
Good morning, guys. How we living?
We're doing all right. Go ahead, friend.
All righty. This one's not for the basketball casuals. This is not for the Cleveland fans. They're not going to want to hear it.
Thank God for Mr. Tone, or thank God for Mr. Basketball, which is Tone.
That's why I'm getting to you guys early before work.
Go ahead.
So hear me out. So the whole trade rumors all on, Facebook, social media, blah, 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 blah. They're throwing out 2 names, all right? Trey Murphy and Giannis, all right? I am going to go with a dark horse pick because we are in need of about 3 things. 2 of them being mental and physical toughness. The third one being championship pedigree. No one's going to want to hear this, but there's one name that speaks loud and clear to me. As much as I would love Trey Murphy and Giannis on the squad, here we go. You guys are going to love it. You guys are going to be talking about this all morning.
Tell us. Give it to us. Come on. Give it to us.
All righty. There's one guy that's going to keep our offense moving. He's going to add that mental and physical toughness. He brings a championship pedigree. That name is Draymond Green. Draymond Green. We get rid of Darius Garland, get that money off the books, maybe package Max Strus. He hasn't been available for us. Get some more money off the books. Draymond Green, he brings that mental and physical toughness. He will be that enforcer that brings in the minutes.
Do you really believe there's any chance in hell that guy would ever play for the Cavs?
I don't care if I think he'll play for the Cavs. I'm saying I'm trying to win a championship. I want Donovan Mitchell to stay. I would love to keep Mobley and Allen in the lineup. Tomlin and Tyson can fill up those 2 and 3 minutes. They just got 2 dogs in Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis, so they're obviously trying to bolster up their defense. You know, we have the firepower. We have the shooting. We have the length. We need someone that can get the mental game, and we're the apex predators out there. We need people that are going to push around Detroit and that Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart. And we need guys that are going to assert themselves. And Draymond Green not only checks all of those boxes, but when Allen and Mobley aren't in, he can continue to use his passing to his advantage and, you know, keep the offense moving, keep getting Tyson those touches, keep getting Tomlin those opportunities to get up and dunk the ball.
Trevor.
And you know what? I want a Cavs championship just like everyone else.
Everybody else
you know
does.
what?
But I'll tell you this. Listen, I'm not going to blame you for coming up with something kind of unique because I did not think I was going to hear about Draymond Green in that call. Thank you very much for the call.
I would have loved that call 4 years ago.
I just don't. First off, I think he's
not the Draymond I've seen this year.
I think he is out of gas, and he's, 36 years old?
Yeah, by the way,
if you're talking
he'll turn 36 next month.
He's already
next month. Okay.
He's already like a few technicals or a few flagrants away from suspension again.
Yeah, and
Well, can he get those before Thursday?
Considering the history, I think you're trading for a guy who ends up being a malcontent. Now he might be a proud man and decide that this is a playoff team and that he's going to cement his legacy. But I think he's already thinks he's cemented his legacy. I mean, you're talking about a 4-time champion right there. 216-474-0092. All right, I'll get back to this coming up here in a bit. Daryl Ryder going to join us at 8:20, and you packed your boxes. You made your choice. It's nothing personal. We've just all been through this before, and I don't want to go through it again. I'm not bringing back Jim Schwartz, and I'll tell you exactly why in 5 on the Fan. Daisy Dips.
local experts in burst pipe mitigation and water damage. We stop the flow and start the recovery immediately. IntegratedRestoration.us. IntegratedRestoration.us.
Catch the latest Browns news all off-season long. Stream us on the Odyssey app and on your smart speaker by telling Alexa to play 92.3 The Fan.
Lima Lakes coming up at 7:45, where we get 30,000 for hockey over the weekend or something like that. An amazing, amazing attendance. It might be brought up during Lima Lakes coming up at 7:45 this morning. It's nothing personal with Jim Schwartz. I got nothing against Jim Schwartz. I'm not trying to be a firebrand or anything like that. I'm just trying to tell you, guys, we've been through this before, and if anybody knows what this is, it's Todd Monken knows what this is. Todd Monken has been a disgruntled offensive coordinator before. He's been a disgruntled coordinator before in this city back in 2019. In the words of Kevin, the guy he replaced, you need volunteers, not hostages. And Mary Kay posted over the weekend, and we won't get a chance to talk to Mary Kay until Thursday. I know she talks to other shows during the week, so we might play some audio from Mary Kay throughout the week here. But she had written that, hey, maybe a monetary bump for Jim Schwartz. Maybe it's the Myles Garrett of Jim Schwartz, where this is a negotiation tactic for a great big more amount of money. Like Myles got himself basically a lifetime contract worth over $120 million, and now Jim Schwartz can get himself a bump in pay. I'm like, he packed his boxes and he left. He's got to carry the boxes back in. Does he take a hand truck? What does he do to get the boxes back in? They have an elevator in there. What does he say when he goes back in there? I mean, honestly, I'm not even trying to be joke. I'm not even trying to joke. How he left, I don't know how he left. How many people were in the building? I'm not sure. I don't know if he made a big show of it. According to the reports, he was telling people goodbye. Now he's going to come back in. And it's not just that. I'm just trying to think about the season. How many wins do you think the Browns turn on the mics, everybody? If Meredith is listening, turn her mic on. I want her input here real quick. How many wins right off the tippy top of your head as we turn the page to February? It's Groundhog Day. How many wins do you think the Browns are going to have in 2026? Tone.
5 or 6.
Is Meredith there?
I'm here.
Meredith, how many wins are the Browns going to have in 2026?
I would say like 4 to 6 range.
4 to 6. Owen.
5.
5. I say 5 as well. You just had a 5-win season, and it was filled with controversy. You just had a 5-win season. It was filled with strife. It was filled with questions. It was filled with people calling for jobs. 5-win seasons are not just 5-win seasons. They become drama-filled, painful, ugly, sordid tales that last months long. Do I really want to invite that back? Because you know that's the first thing we're going to get calls about. That's the first thing that people think of.
What, like infighting or what?
Just the questions. You know, because Todd Monken, he's like, guys, again, nobody has said in the last week that he's a bad coach. You're going to be organized. He's gonna have something there that's going to make this offense better because the offense can't get any worse. So he's bound to make the offense better. Plus, you're going to add some players on the offensive side of the ball in some fashion. So you're going to have at least a little bit better of an offense. But I think a lot of us are still thinking 5. If you're really open-minded about it or really excitable, maybe 6 wins. Guys, you know what comes with this. And it's not the first thing. The first thing will be the calls about the quarterbacks. That'll be the first thing. But when it comes to like Monday mornings, you know people are going to be in the back of their head. Well, what did Jim think? What would we be if Jim was the head coach? What is Myles thinking with Jim? Do I want to have to ask Myles, or does Jeff Shadell, you know he's going to ask the question because he asked the tough questions in the press conferences. Is Jeff going to have to ask Myles about this every Friday? Because clearly Myles was not thrilled with this whole deal. Now, things tend to cool off. We'll see this week. But it's another thing that I don't think you need. I think you're never going to be on the same page as your entire coaching staff. Let's not be silly. But you still want to try to start with the best foot forward. And this is a guy who publicly showed his displeasure with you getting the job. And he's a great coach. Under any if he would have just not done that, yeah, fine. If he can handle it, I'm open-minded to it. But he already did it. It's already public. it's probably just time to move on. And I'm telling you, I'm going to be waiting for this. I'm going to be waiting for the other shoe to drop all year. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they have a great season. There's no reason for anybody to get upset. But, man, you guys, we've all been through this before. We know how this season goes. We can be as hopeful as we want. Let's be honest with each other here. You know how this goes. Go ahead.
Well, I think it'd be a massive, massive blow if he is out the door. And I think that would it's like one step forward, two steps back if they can't keep Schwartz. We can't do revisionist history on this. We can't act like just anybody could coordinate this defense. Like, yeah, anybody could be a defensive coordinator, but could they maximize what you've been able to get out of key players on this team, which I think Jim Schwartz has been able to do over the last few years? Hell, they even made a trade, halfway through the year, and then they got the best of that new player. So that, to me, is big part of the scheme and everything that Jim Schwartz has brought to the table. So I'm hoping that, the emotions, they always say like the 24-hour rule or the 48-hour rule. I'm hoping now that enough time has lapsed. Plus, we've seen San Francisco's hired a defensive coordinator. Raheem Morris is, pairing up with Kyle Shanahan. So you can cross San Francisco off the list. Miami has got somebody for Halfley now as defensive coordinator. So you start to go through and you're like, well, where would Schwartz go? Is he going to retire? Is he just going to leave money on the table? How do you go from wanting to be a head coach for maybe the last opportunity you might have in the NFL to I'm going to sit out and I'm just not going to coach anymore? So wait a second. You were dying to be a head coach right now, instantly, but the alternative is take my ball and go home and not do anything. Well, and it's not like the TV networks are clamoring for Jim Schwartz, even though I think he might be good on TV. It's not like he is some big commodity that the networks are going to throw a bunch of money at him. So it's hard for me to believe he's just going to walk away from the sport when he was going to go be a 24/7 head coach in this league.
So would you welcome him back? It sounds like you would.
I
wouldn't. I'd go looking in other places. I really would. I want guys to be, again, he's done a fantastic job and he's a fantastic coach. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. This is a weird situation. But you got to be ready to you had to be ready for this decision. You had to be ready that he was going to have this type of reaction. You have to have somebody in mind who you would bring in as a defensive coordinator. And I know that the Browns think highly of him. Browns fans think highly of Jim Schwartz. But it's going to be in the back of my... I mean, I'm not going to sit there and make a big deal of it every single week when they lose games, but it's going to be in the back of my head. It's going to be in the back there, and I hope it doesn't rear its ugly head, but I just got a bad stealing feeling that this is one of them things next November we go, oh, yeah, Jim Schwartz, he had a lot of displeasure after that Bengals game. When they came back from Paris, allegedly, according to this report out in France, when they came back from Paris after the New Orleans game, Jim was livid the entire plane ride home. And where this goes, man. We've been through it. Todd Monken has been through it before. The reports, that stuff was happening during the year. Now, Todd's going to be more organized and more professional than Freddie was. There's a difference there. I'm not trying to be Mr. Worries here. I'm just trying to tell you how I feel. And you've publicly shown that you clearly don't want to work for this guy. And now you're going to go back to it, and it just feels very Buddy Ryan, Mike Ditka, without the tremendous collection of talent. And so what does that become? That becomes a recipe for disaster. The defense is already, it holds the offense in contempt. And now we're going to invite that back. If it doesn't go well this year, it's going to be that even more, because then these guys are going to come off the field and go, that guy should be the head coach, not whatever's going on over here.
But you're projecting worst case scenario
here. I am,
here.
because it's the Browns, and I need to think of that.
I know, and normally that's me.
Okay.
It's a role reversal here on a Monday. But what happens if it's not that way? What happens?
I already have thought about that, and I just don't see a scenario where that wins out unless the guys that they draft for their offense become that much better that quicker.
Do you think it's one way, or do you think it's a two-way thing? Do you think, because I saw last week, I heard Nick in the afternoon saying, oh, just pay him more money, pay Schwartz more money, and it's like, well, that's a delicate balance, because you can't have your defensive coordinator making just as much money as your head coach. I heard him say $6 million. I'm like, what's Todd Monken getting paid?
That's probably about what Todd Monken's
getting
paid.
more than $6 million a year? I'm like, Monken, you can't have the DC that didn't get the job make as much money as the head coach.
You gave me a point that I thought about the other thing. I didn't even think about that. What if the defense? I mean, you've never really been great at stopping the run. You had Malik Collins there. He was a good run stopper, but you've never historically been great at stopping the run. What if you're getting gashed on the defensive side and Tom Monken's going, wait a minute, you forced this upon me here? You have forced this upon me. It doesn't. This guy didn't want to be with me, and now you're forcing him upon me, and it just doesn't feel right, guys. You know it doesn't feel right.
That's why maybe Josina was right. Co-head coaches.
Well, the league source that told her that might have been right. I don't think it was her idea. God, I hope not.
She's the one that put it out to the public.
Yeah, but you can't go after the messenger. She said a league source.
I'm not going after the messenger. I'm agreeing with her report.
You want co-head coaches, or you just
paying both $6 million? Then you don't have to worry about it.
216-474-0092. Would you welcome Jim Schwartz back? Think about everything that's ever happened in Browns past. History would show you, Tone, it's on my side. 216-474-0092. Would you welcome Jim Schwartz back? And I don't want to make too much of one meeting, but when it comes to Browns quarterbacks, I'm going to make everything a big deal. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima on the Fan. Window Nation.
from 7 to 9. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Catch Afternoon Drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin live on YouTube each and every weekday from 2 to 7 p.m.
Audio courtesy of FanDuel. I got to tell you, and it's. I think we got to make Jim Schwartz come up with a decision sooner than later of whether or not he's going to come back. If you're going to bring him back, he's got to come up with a decision sooner than later. Because I would have to say, would Todd Monken wouldn't he not have to be prepared for such an ordeal if Jim Schwartz were to leave? Like, he had to be prepared for the idea that Jim Schwartz, if he were to get the job, wasn't going to be too comfortable with all this and that Jim Schwartz might leave. So he probably had somebody in mind. It's almost the same thing as what's going on with Jim Harbaugh over there in New York, where Jim Harbaugh had Monken and he had all these guys. And now you hear a bunch of the reports that go on where it's like, hey, now Todd Monken's the head coach and he's seemingly taking guys who were going to be going to New York with him to Cleveland as part of his staff. And so it's like, well, you got to get moving here. So if Jim's going to come back, which, you know, I have my concerns.
So you're saying you'd be mad if he came back and he was the DC?
No. What, mad? Why would I be mad? Am I going to start screaming?
Well, I thought that's. I was trying to get down.
Why would I be mad?
Down to what you were trying to express last segment, which it seemed like you thought this was just a ticking time bomb if he came back.
Oh, I will think that. There's no doubt.
So why would you want a ticking time bomb back? So I'm just trying.
Because I've been wrong before, and I want it to work out. Like, he's a very good coach. But I would sit back and I would say, I hope this works out, but history tells me that it's not going to. If you were a team, like if they were a team that was, say this was the 2019-2020, I saw that clip of Todd Monken talking at the Harbaugh Coaches Academy, which, by the way, football guys, I'm actually on those email lists back in the day. They kind of like dried up. I don't know what was going on there. Anyway, I saw that video of Todd Monken talking about 19, and he's like, we had a talented team. We ended up being one and done because everything was a mess, infighting, the whole thing. If you had this collection of talent that maybe you had in 2019, 2020, you would say, hey, let's be professionals. Let's get over it. Let's figure it out. Okay. We're gonna have to ask more of each other. You guys are gonna have to come together for the greater good. You guys, you're football coaches. You preach teamwork. You go ahead and do it. But I think we go into this season knowing, and unless they make some big moves that I don't think are out there, but unless we go into this season knowing that they're probably not going to win very many football games. So if they're not going to win very many football games, that means there's going to be a lot of stuff where you're going to be getting in the foxhole with each other. Well, you got to trust the guy. And if you already knew that guy literally packed up his boxes and left, it's just one more thing that I hope it works out, but it's one more thing where if it came out, I ain't going to be surprised. And it can't just be about money for Jim Schwartz. He's got money. They all got money. A 60-year-old guy who used to be a head coach, I mean, unless he's John L. Smith and made bad investments in real estate, like, he should have money. You should be pretty comfortable if you were a head coach just less than 10 years ago. So, more than 10 years ago now. But you should be pretty comfy. He should have money. So that shouldn't be the issue for him to come back, because if it is, then he'll probably, I think it's about pride, and I think that his pride will not let him just go with the flow if he thinks that something's wrong there. Well, and it could be wrong. He could just be exposing the truth. If Todd Monken ended up being like completely disorganized, maybe Jim Schwartz would just be exposing the truth here. I just don't believe that Todd Monken's going to be completely disorganized and a mess. I just don't know how good a talent he has to work with right now.
Yeah, I just wonder, throughout the process, like we'd heard one variation of what might have been out there when it came to, were the Browns trying to make sure that all the candidates could work with Jim Schwartz. We don't know what really was being said, and more importantly, we don't know what was being said to Jim Schwartz. Like, what a weird tightrope to walk throughout that process, because most likely if you're taking seriously his candidacy for a head coach and you're interviewing him, you're not really talking about what if he doesn't get the job. So what is that like? Or are those conversations that were being had between the agent and the Browns? Because that's weird, too. You don't want to be telling the agent, like, here are contingency plans if we don't go with your client as head coach. We'd like him to be the defensive coordinator, and we're telling the other candidates we'd like that. I do wonder how that was behind the scenes. And did Jim Schwartz tell his agent to tell them, or did Jim Schwartz directly tell them, hey, if I don't get the job, which might have been leverage for him or perceived leverage.
Possibly, yes.
Like, hey, by the way, not only do I think you should pick me as the head coach, if you don't pick me as the head coach, I am leaving the building and I'm never coming back here. That might be a card that he tried to pull. I don't know.
At the same token, again, Todd Monken or Nate Scheelhaase, if he got the job, I think you'd had to be prepared of somebody in mind for that position. But to me, it feels, I'm not mad, and I will not be mad if he comes back. I'll just be waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I hope that it never were to drop. But it feels to me there's two things. We are looking for anybody we trust because the team has been hapless for 26 years. With the exception of a couple years. So we hold on to anybody we trust. Again, I did this with Bill Callahan. I had to tell people, especially when his son was mentioned for 2 years before he got the job, the year before and the year he got it, as a head coaching position, like, we got to be ready to replace Bill Callahan. And when I say this, it's not like you're missing, you can just let the guy go, that he's not a good coach. Bill Callahan was a really good coach. You have to be prepared to move on from him because there's supposed to be other good offensive line coaches out there. You had to be prepared to move on from Jim Schwartz. What if you got another head coaching job? What if you got the head coaching job from the Ravens? You had to be prepared to possibly move on from Jim Schwartz. It's not about who you let go. That's a difficult thing. Losing Bill Callahan was difficult. Losing Jim Schwartz is not going to be easy. But you have to be prepared for that. So we hold on to guys that we find these guys and we trust them and we cannot let them go because we cannot envision life without them. It's like, guys, it's the NFL. These guys come and they go. There are very few Dante Scarnecchias, if ever. They come, they go, you get what you can out of them while you can, and you hope that you hire well afterwards. Sometimes you do hire a good offensive-minded or a good offensive line coach after you lose your offensive line coach. Other years you hire Andy Dickerson, who's not even in charge of it by the end of the year. That tends to be more Browns. And so I use that as another reason. This does seem to be of a, Kenny, you're making a big deal about it. And then doesn't it feel like some point in November this is going to be a big deal? How many times have I sat here across the table from you and argued that, God, you're making too big of a deal about it? Jim Schwartz is a hell of a coach. He can come back. If you can get him back, you bring him back, and everything is just going to be just fine. You're making too big of a deal about it. These guys are supposed to be pros. And then in November, this sounds like something you would do. Okay, Kenny, what were you telling me back in February? It feels like the roles are totally reversed here. I've seen this play out so many times over. And I hope there's no infighting. But it can't just be about money. Oh, we'll give him a pay raise. All right, yeah, I'll come back. And he's still going to be proud of what he works with. And he's still going to be upset if that offense is sucking up the room. Or if defense isn't holding it up, it's exactly what you just said. Maybe Tom Monken's like, you gave this guy a raise to work with me and we can't stop the run? We can't do this?
Yeah, obviously I'm thinking about
that's less likely.
What happens if it's not Jim Schwartz and all of a sudden all these guys that we were able to maximize, all of a sudden scheme-wise were a little bit more confused next year. It's coached a little bit differently. Some of the new players come in. Because think about last year. Malik Collins comes in as his best year as a pro by the numbers, by the analytics, not just the sack totals, but like all the analytics. It's like, again, another feather in the cap for Jim Schwartz. But if Jim Schwartz isn't there, what happens? Because we have been looking forever to see what guys can you put opposite or down that line from Myles Garrett. Oh, Jadeveon Clowney. Did they just have a season that Malik Collins had? Like, that's what I mean. We have been looking for that. And, guys like Steve Wilkes and who else was here before? Was it Ray Horton? Those other guys may not necessarily have been able to get the most out of Myles Garrett and some of the others.
216-474-0092. Let me get to Ryan in Columbia Station. You're next up on the Fan. Hello.
Good morning, guys. How's it going?
Not bad, Ryan. Go ahead.
This is bad. I think Jim Schwartz is one of the best things that happened to the Browns in the last 20-some years. And the defense speaks for itself with the success it's had since he's been here. Completely turned things around. And this is just a train wreck of a situation. Just this continuing carousel of instability with this organization. And Andrew Berry just somehow, again, gets by with just making a terrible decision And
well, what do you think? What do you think they should have done? Who should they have hired?
For the head coach, I don't know. I mean, I was big on having Vrabel in this building, and you let him go, and I mean that ship set sail. But I mean, I wanted Harbaugh more than anything. Don't know if he wanted to come here or not, but his backstory sounded good.
Well, Ryan, so do we have to bring Jim Schwartz back? Is what because I don't think that John Harbaugh, you needed to have the discussion, but we all knew it wasn't going to be very realistic. We've done it all over many times for Mike Vrabel. I mean, the situation is what it is. It sounds like they should have just made Jim Schwartz the head coach.
I would have been okay with it. Definitely.
It would have to just hold on to Jim Schwartz. You would have made him the head coach just to make sure that he stayed here?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's a good candidate. I mean, it would have brought some stability to this team. I mean, everything is just this swap it out next year, let's try again, and it's not working. It's not working. And one of the only things that has worked for this team is Jim Schwartz.
So that's the fight you're fighting there. Ryan, thank you very much for the call.
Well, the flip side of that is, did you want stability from a team that had won 9 games over the last 2 years? 8 games, yeah. Did you want stability? Or did you think they needed to totally cleanse that to get, new thought leaders in the building? Because obviously Andrew Berry's still here.
Hey, I like Jim Schwartz as much as the next guy, and he was on my list of
I think he's a legitimate candidate.
Coaches, and I thought he should have been a legitimate candidate.
I was surprised the people that are like, he's a defensive guy, you can't hire him.
No, you can hire.
We saw 3 other defensive guys.
What the hell's Mike McDonald doing this week?
Yeah, I know. And what's Mike Vrabel?
You got to be able to hire good offensive guys. I mean, that makes it difficult, But I mean, it can be done. But yeah, they wanted to go with Todd Monken, fine. But that's what happens when you go with somebody else. And I think that Todd Monken's going to be stable. But I can't turn my whole world upside down just to bring back Jim Schwartz. And it's nothing personal about Jim Schwartz. It's just the situation that we're in. Had he not done that, had never been reported.
If he came back, let me ask you this. If he came back and everything went well, right?
I would love to say I was wrong, and I'd say, gosh, I have a lot of. I already had a lot of respect for Jim Schwartz. I didn't realize how much respect I would have for Jim Schwartz.
Even that. So here, this might be an argument towards you, for you that you could use, but is that a 1-year thing anyway? Meaning, if the Browns' defense is exactly what they were last year, or maybe even better, and Todd Monken actually righted the ship with the offense, developed Shador or whoever, Malik Willis, whatever. And their offense takes a step forward or huge couple steps forward, and they win 9 games, 10 games. Let's get crazy. It's the
That'd
NFL.
Be awesome.
You've seen the schedule.
That'd be awesome.
Is all of that to also push Jim Schwartz to get a head coaching job?
That's
part of the math here.
Well, that is part of the math, but I'll say this very quickly. This hasn't been brought up. If I'm bringing him back, I'll throw a bunch more money at him. Money's no object for the Cleveland Browns. You got to give me 2027 as well. 2 years. Because you could just go, fine, I'll just get to the end of this year and I'll just take your money and that'll be it. And he at the end of the year. And they'll just go, it's the Browns, no big deal. You're allowed to mess up and just become a head coach. Look at Kevin Stefanski. But no, you're going to give me 2027 as well. I'll give you a ton more money. You're going to at least sign another extension for the next year after. Because then it means, okay, you're here. Time to roll up your sleeves and be a pro. 216-474-0092. All right, I got this. I got the meeting that shook the internet right at the end of our show on Friday. And, guys, I'd like to go to Europe someday. It ain't ever going to be for an NFL game. Ken Carman and Anthony Lima live on The Fan. Peter and Company Jewelers and Avon Lake. Perhaps.
October 25th. Don't miss the 92.3 The Fan off-season special. Get the latest about the Browns tonight from 7 to 9. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Well, looks like around 8 o'clock we're going to have ourselves an argument over paternity leave.
Oh, like that hasn't been an argument in the background at 92.3 The Fan before.
Well. I didn't understand what the big deal was, but we'll talk about it at 8 o'clock. Coming up at 7:45, Lima likes. I'd like to go to Europe someday. It ain't ever going to be for an NFL game, guys. If I go to, like, the whole London thing, like, if you guys, and by the way, to each their own. If you wanted to go to London for a Browns game, go right on ahead. If you want to go to Paris for Browns Saints, like is being reported by this French television station, that it's going to be Saints Browns at some point in France, you go right on ahead. But man, and maybe it's just because I've been to a lot of football games and I'm a football guy. Like, I'll go to a Browns game in Los Angeles, anywhere in the States that's already, like, it's just part, because it's part of our culture. But if I go to France, I want to see some French stuff. If I go to London, I'm going to see English things. I'll go to a Premier League game. I'll go to a League One game or whatever they call it over there. No disrespect. I'll go to one of those other club games. I want to go to the East End. I want to go eat I have never had the mashed potatoes and the pie and the stewed eels. I will do all that in London. I'll go see Big Ben, as every other tourist does. I am not eager to go to London, England, to go see Patriots and Saints. I'm not interested to go to Paris to see Rams, Cardinals. No. It's not just a Browns game. It's any NFL game. I don't want to go to Paris to see the NFL. I don't want to go to Berlin to see the NFL, or Munich, or South America, or Canada. I want to. If I'm going on a trip, I want to experience things that are in that country. Maybe you disagree. Maybe the greater good disagrees with me. Maybe you guys are all excited to go to the Eiffel Tower before or after a Browns game. It's just like, man, that ain't going to get me to go to England. I'll go to. I want to go to England someday. Definitely, I want to go. I want to go back to the homeland someday. But man, it's like I'm not going there to see an NFL game.
I had buddies already texting me, and buddies with means. Congratulations on all their success.
Well, I mean, you know the movers and the shakers. That's how you know these things before a lot of other people.
They were like, "Are we going? Is your station covering this? Can you get on the team plane for something?" It's like, no, that's not really how it works. And I said, my wife would kill me if we've been talking about going to France at some point. It's not in the cards anytime soon. But if this were the way to go to France, and now either she doesn't go, or if she does go, a football game will take up a sizable portion of the trip. She's like, absolutely not. This would not be.
Well, you would just go by yourself.
And then that would
technically be for work.
And then she would also be pissed about that.
But she can do like an Emily in Paris type of thing. I don't know what Emily does in Paris. I just know it's a popular
this season
show.
This season she goes to Italy. That's what she does as part of the Emily in Paris.
Was she a Browns quarterback? I'm sorry. I'm not sorry to hell.
Can he do that job from remote from Italy?
So it's Emily in Italy?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Well, then what the hell's the name of the show for?
That was the previous seasons. She met a guy. Kenny, she met a guy.
Just wait till it becomes Italy and Paris.
That's always how that goes. They go over there and they meet a guy. I have so many buddies who they've sent their, she's going abroad to study. I go, okay. Check that Instagram here in about 2 weeks. And sure as hell, champions pose. They always meet a guy. Them accents, they can't resist it. What are you going to do? I like if you had to go for work, you had to go for work. I don't find anything. If they played in Tokyo, like didn't they used to play preseason games in Tokyo? Yes. I ain't going to Tokyo to go see.
Terrell Davis became a thing.
I'll go see pro wrestling at the Tokyo Dome because I heard it's such an incredible atmosphere. I'll go see sumo wrestling. I will go see Japanese baseball when it comes to sports. I'm not going to see the NFL. I'm not going to see the NBA for that matter. I'm not doing it. And anybody who does, to each their own. And it's weird because my wife is a travel agent, and she won't. When I ever go to London, I hope to go someday. I know I'm going alone or with my son, my oldest son. I'm not going, like, she will not fly over there with me.
She doesn't want to go there at all?
No, she'll fly to South America. She has no problem with that, but she ain't going to fly to England.
Why?
Too long. Swear to God, that's what she says. Too long a flight. And it's over all that water. I go, well, you fly over water to go to the Caribbean. She goes, it's not the same. It's not as long. I go, dead is dead no matter what you hit, Liz. Like, if you fall into the water, you're dead. Like, you don't it's not a different style of dead if you hit a mountain as opposed to water. Dead is dead, honey.
For some reason,
sharks.
there's hope. There's like some weird false hope that you have with water. Like, we'll dive in there. Like,
yeah, but if you're right out there in the middle of the Atlantic,
event.
there's nothing else. So good luck to you. Then you got to deal with that. What were you going to say?
Sharks.
Like, but I'm are there a lot of people jazzed up to go to Paris if they get a Browns game over there?
Well, absolutely. They were with the England trip. And the Germany trip and whatever. Like, the fans have absolutely gotten excited. Some of the big-time season ticket holders, they get excited about all that stuff. Now, part of it for them, they travel. Like, if you've got a lot of money, you've already been to France or you've already been to London. And now it's just another reason to go and extend a weekend. And, you can have your subordinates run the show back home for a few days.
I guess it might be fun. I can go to a Browns game. I mean, hell, at the end of the Browns season when things are going so well, you basically just walk in the door if you really want to. And it's kind of, you can't tell me it's not the same. There's just a bunch of French people walking around, I guess. So whatever. But I watch the games on TV, and they try to do their best to make it an American type of thing when they play over there at Tottenham or wherever the hell they play. And it's like, well, I can get that here in the States. I can go down to Cincinnati and go see the Bengals and play the Browns and hope the Browns win, and that's
honestly,
fine.
that's it. I'd rather go see a soccer game. I'd
That's
rather
what
see
I'm saying.
their football before going and watching our product, because I've been exposed to our product. Like, why? I guess it's, would it be, obviously, a trip to any of these places would be awesome. And yes, if the football was a part of it and you weren't paying for it, somebody else was paying for it, heck yeah, then obviously that's like a no-brainer if somebody else is footing the bill. But what I'm saying is, like, part of the fabric of what they do in these countries is not NFL football.
That's the exact. I'm there as a tourist. I want to see how they live and what they do. And when I see the stuff of the chants of the Premier League game, the casual F-bombs that they just drop as a crowd is unbelievable to me. And that's what I'd want to do. I don't, like, you go to an NFL game, and I've been to NFL games in other stadiums, and it's, it's like you kind of got to earn the crowd and things like that. We've talked about that before. It's much different from college football. But I see all that, and I'm like, yeah, I'd like to go, and I'd like to get a seat. I'm sure they're really expensive. I'd like to go to that. I'm not obviously I'm not the world's biggest soccer fan. I certainly don't hate it. And I'd love to sit there and act like I know what they're chanting and kind of humming along if I could or anything like that, and just see how they all act during all this. Now, I want to see that. I've seen NFL games. I've seen too many NFL games in some seasons.
Now, what are we buying that? Like, have there been any other games for the schedule leaked next year in the NFL?
So you're not buying it that it's in Paris?
Are we buying that not only because every year the game we know is like the Super Bowl winner is going to kick off the season, and whoever you look at their schedule, one of the sexier matchups on the schedule is normally one that could be suited to kick off the season. Yeah. Are we buying that this is the first game we know? It's the Browns and the Saints?
Yeah, but it's not the first week of the season either. It's in the middle.
But do we know any other games?
Unless somebody, connected to that station got wind of teams that are looking for accommodations, maybe.
Can Meredith reach out to a French television reporter? It's like, what time is it over there?
Yeah, there's
2 in the afternoon.
They're in the middle of the day. Yeah.
Let's just make that happen. Let's cross international date lines, run up a big phone bill. Let's get one of those guys.
Are we going to be massive, basically massive road team in that game because of the French influence of New Orleans?
They'll bring the whole quarter with them.
I thought about that. I don't know. Browns fans always seem to travel well wherever they go.
Yeah, but the home Frenchies they'll be sporting Saint stuff.
But it's exactly what Lima says. It's just going to be now. France is different. Like, there's a lot of women who dream to go to France. Again, Emily in Paris, right? There's a lot of women who dream to go to France. And it's like, is this one where you get two birds stoned at once? You're like, hey, we'll go to Paris. We're going to finally go to France. I'm going to go to a Browns game. Is that okay, or is that not going to go over well with the missus? It wouldn't go over well with your wife, clearly.
No, she would not be happy.
I want to know if is that a normal reaction? Because France is like different. France is like romance and love and bread and whatever. Like, that's what France is. Wine.
That's
cheese.
It's on the sign when you drive into France.
Bread.
Romance, love, bread.
Bread. Yes. Isn't that what France is? Like, you go to England. Like, does anybody go to England for romance?
Porridge.
Exactly. Gruel. Stewed eels.
You go to the Louvre.
You can go. Isn't that in France?
Yeah.
I was about to say, I thought that was in France. Yeah, okay, you go to the Louvre, then what are you going to do? Go
Day 2 at the Louvre.
You go to the Louvre, and then you go watch the high-powered Todd Monken offense?
Put it in the Louvre.
Hang it in the Louvre. You knew that was coming. 216-474-0092. It would be a fun trip to go to see France. Actually, probably it's not on my top of my European
Power rank them. Let's go.
Here we go.
Yours, not Liz's.
Does Ireland count? Does Ireland count as a separate country, or is that in the same as England?
No, people do.
I don't know why.
We have direct, don't we?
Which one's what? Tell me which one. Is it okay?
What do you mean?
Can I say Ireland and England, or do I have to separate? Okay. Number 1, England and Ireland. Okay? Because somehow my family tree is
so
just...
you asked if you could separate them.
One straight thing.
I said you could, and then you didn't do it.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. Okay, number 2, you kind of want to see Switzerland. I feel there'd be a lot of uphill walking that I'd really regret, though.
Obviously. They've got those Alps.
But you know what? I've been to Sugar Creek many times, and I'm like, kind of want to see Switzerland. Number 3... Norway.
Wow.
Norway.
I thought you'd say Greenland for sure.
Friday is when coming in hot is. Not at 7:34 on a Monday.
It's true. You're not in Ashtabula, so.
Exactly. Is Germany? Do I really want to see Germany that bad?
I think Germany would be awesome.
Like, obviously, Oktoberfest, you want to go to Germany.
Yeah.
And you can be part of that football outreach that Brian Hoyer and Joe Thomas have been a part of.
Yeah, but then I feel like I'm just following in the footsteps of Joe, and I'd be bothering him too much. Like, what do I do here? And he's like, I don't know, Kenny, I'm busy with the meat. You figure it out. I did it.
Mustard. Yeah. Oh, boy.
Bratwurst and the whatnot.
You know what it costs to ship jerky to Germany every week?
And I would just be trying to find the secret passageway to Beer Fest when I went over to Germany. That's how that would work out for me. Amsterdam might be a good time. Not just, I mean, weed's weed now. It don't matter. But Amsterdam's fine, right?
Yeah.
How
in the wintertime?
How would your wife feel about the red light district?
You'd have to walk through it. Yeah, I mean, I don't have my keys handy, but we'd have to walk through it. I told you the time we walked through the nudist colony, the one time during vacation years ago. Just once.
That one time last week.
This is going to sound.
I was like, did I forget my wallet? I got to go back through that nudist colony.
I'm just going to make it sound like giant swingers. How we go? So we went with a group on a cruise.
Yeah. Yeah, you're doing better now. Keep going.
I will never ever forget the one guy. There was a beach where they were clothed, and there's a beach where they were naked. And there was a separation, and they were like, well, you can just go walk. And I'm like, I don't want to walk and look at naked people. And the whole group's like, come on, let's just go walk and look at naked people. I'm like, well, do I have to be naked? Because, I'm pretty conservative when it comes to, exposing myself. And they're like, no, you can wear. I'm like, I don't want to just gawk at naked people. I'll never forget there was this guy. He looked like Panama Jack, and he was reading this book, sitting on this rock, and I'll just say... the man was certainly blessed. I will say that. And he was bare naked, and he was sitting on a rock reading a book.
He was circular rock, right?
Was
not angular?
No,
circular?
it was a giant boulder. He was sitting on a boulder, and he was just thoroughly blessed. And I remember this goes, are you seeing what I'm seeing? I'm like, I don't know how I can't. She's like, I remember there's this pause, and she goes, it's not even fun. And I looked at her, I go, that's an odd thing to say, but all right, yeah, okay. Doing well here. Doing all right. Yeah, that was my one experience at the nude beach. Against my will, I walked down the nude beach.
Kicking and screaming.
And I was clothed. So I felt like a fake. I felt like a fraud. It's like, dude, you're going to go on the nude beach. You're getting naked.
Don't they want to be seen? Aren't they exhibitionists by nature?
Everybody has this big fantasy about nude beaches. And there was another one when we were at that resort, like two places
that
over.
That other nude resort we went to?
And it was just...
we didn't want to go.
No, we didn't want to go. Oh, don't do it again.
You booked me at a third nude resort?
Oh, this is the 5th time in 3 months.
I mean, I do have a hankering for pineapple at this time of year. I mean, what are you going to do? I'm just saying, it's a bunch of guys who look like me. It's nothing you really want to see, guys.
Really you're into that.
Where are you guys eating tonight? The nude restaurant.
Oh, not again.
Food and nakedness, no. What do you got?
Have a nude fettuccine Alfredo.
What do you got next to Lima Likes? Do you have anything to tease the Lima Likes for me?
Yes, it was a wild, wild weekend and no football at all. How did we make do? What was on? Lima Likes coming up next. It's Anthony Lima for...
Does Lima like?
Or does Lima no like?
Like?
Tell me likey.
I'm liking it.
I like it a lot.
No like.
He doesn't like you.
I don't like you either.
You're tacky and I hate you.
Like or no like. No like or no like.
But I definitely knew what I liked, and I definitely knew what I didn't like.
Well, there was officially no football over the weekend. We did have, down in Mobile, the Senior Bowl. Have you been paying attention, Kenny?
I'm alive.
The guy that stole the show at the Senior Bowl, somebody who I had the great honor of broadcasting one of his football games this year.
Right, you did.
In the Division III National Semifinal. Ty Montgomery. Kenny, he had never played any football. I don't think in middle school, in high school. He was supposed to be a walk-on for the LSU basketball team, and he put on an absolute show to the point where, even though he's a little older because of his route to get where he was, but look to me after seeing Daniel Jeremiah, after seeing Dane Brugler, and a host of others. They said he's going to get drafted. What a story this is.
It is a great story. I hope he makes whatever team he's drafted by. I hope he does well. Does that include us? Do people feel a kinship with him, even though he's not? I don't believe is he local? Did he grow up here? He just went to John Carroll.
Yeah.
Is there, like Pierre Garçon went to Mount Union? There's a kinship with that alumni, with those alum. Is there a kinship with Clevelanders, with JCU guys? I bet there is. Even if they're not from here, I bet there is. So good for him. I hope he gets drafted. I hope he gets, you know what? We have plenty of spots open in our wide receiver room. Can we develop a wide receiver, or is this a bad place to develop what? Well, Chad O'Shea isn't here anymore. Maybe this is a good place to develop wide receivers, Tone. That's in the eye of the beholder, the Browns fan.
I like to see it. It'll bring us to a question that I was talking to Ken with off the air yesterday, that I still feel like the NFL has the most untapped potential players around the world that could play in the NFL that we will never know. There are guys that I think, and I've wondered what other sports this exists. There are people that could have played in the NFL that maybe never gave it a shot, and thank goodness this is one of them that got an opportunity, because this is pretty crazy. And he's going up against legitimate corners and taking them to school in some of these highlight reels. So I think it could happen. Meanwhile,
Lima likes.
How about Todd Monken going to work?
Oh.
Have you paid attention, Kenny, to his assembling of the staff for the Cleveland Browns
a little bit
so far today? And poaching some of those that previously were going to go to work with John Harbaugh. What does it mean to you? Are we assembling one of the better staffs? All the Jim Schwartz
Our
news
associate head
notwithstanding.
coach is Daniel Stern.
Which means?
That Home Alone 3, the real one, is coming to town. Oh, speaking of Home Alone, R.I.P. Catherine O'Hara, man.
Well, you had to go on social media and post about it this weekend.
I didn't post about it.
My wife was asking. She's a fan, like everybody else, of Home Alone. I don't know if she knows all the movies that Catherine O'Hara was in, or a sketch comedy career, which
underrated as the mother in Orange County.
Oh, she's been in so much. But my wife is like, no one I've ever known has ever mentioned her in a sentence in real life, but on social media, 100% of the people she knew posted about Catherine O'Hara.
In the latest sitcom, in the Canadian sitcom, with her and Dan Levy,
we watched it all,
and Eugene Levy, she was like the character. Moira was the character. Like, she was the biggest damn deal in the world for a moment. Yeah, Catherine O'Hara. Everybody loved her.
That show had a very big moment for about a year.
Mm-hmm. Continue.
I'm not gonna say the name.
Meanwhile, Kenny.
Yeah, I'm afraid to say the name.
Lamino likes.
How about the weather in the South? So I asked Kenny over the weekend, as we saw in the Carolinas, there was snow on the streets. Down in Florida, people were miserable. I knew people who vacationed or attempted to down in the southern portion of the United States this past weekend. And so I ask you this. When People are rubbing it in. We're going on a trip. We're going on a trip. We're going here. We're going there. It's going to be amazing. Oh, I'm going to get my tan in beforehand so I can get ready. How do you feel about those individuals who were rubbing it in over the last month that they had their big trip that it happened to be in the middle of a snowstorm and or cold front down in the south?
I feel bad, and I'll tell you why. I think it's bad karma for me to enjoy somebody else having bad weather on their trip. I think that's terrible karma. So, as a person who goes to the South, usually about once a year, sometimes twice, as a person who spends time in the South, no, I am not. If anybody
even if
spent
they've
a week
been
down
rubbing
there,
it in, because if they've been rubbing it in, isn't that the karma counter?
If they're rubbing it in, that means they probably don't get to go on many trips. So that's even worse. I can't have that. I don't want that to happen on my trip, and I don't want that to happen on anybody else's trip. I want pleasant weather for everybody when they leave what is, pretty inhospitable weather.
Are you buying this from Kenny?
Why wouldn't you buy that? Why would I have reason to lie? Why would I have reason to lie about that?
You're a liar.
Why would I have reason to lie?
Owen just called you a
You're
liar.
not giving me any answer. Oh, he can call me whatever he wants. But I'm asking you, none of you guys have a good reason. I'm not a damn liar. I'm telling you the damn truth. I'm not walking out of here paying more than $19.5. Give me my damn checkbook. Let's get the hell out of here.
Meanwhile,
I'm alive.
Owen was front and center over the last few days in Cleveland.
It was middle and center.
How about the Cleveland Monsters breaking attendance records left and right? Did they get 30,000 over a couple of days?
Like 14.5 on Saturday or on Friday and 16.5 on Saturday, whatever day.
That is staggering.
I worked too much this week.
That is Did it feel like big event?
16,000 is like a hell of a lot of people.
Yes, it was a ton of people. You can usually tell from where I sat right in the middle of the club section, right in the middle, center ice. And usually it's like, it feels like I have my season ticket holders that sit beside me, and there's a few people there. Man, it felt, especially Saturday, I felt closed in. I was definitely in the middle of it all and felt closed in.
Did you throw a stuffed animal during the teddy bear toss?
That was in December.
Oh, okay.
That was not this weekend. Jeff Shadell, though, has a video of it. It's great. It's on X.
They only do that? There's only a special...
They only do it before they're raising stuffed animals to give away to children that need them.
Kenny, it happens every year.
The holidays.
Can we in Cleveland support another pro
stuffed animal
top of the line,
so
another stuffed animal toss?
I'm doing a market watch.
Okay.
The highest price you're paying for this is about $53.
Okay.
On SeatGeek. And the 55, you're up against the glass, basically, at $55. Now, talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to look up Blue Jackets price.
Yeah, I was looking at this because I've always wondered, and NBA-wise, the tickets are ridiculously priced. And yet, somehow the Cavs, they don't sell them out right now, but there are people all the way up into the rafters for most of these games. Hockey prices down in Columbus can be kind of steep, can't they?
This is weird here. This is secondary. Okay. Behind the goal, up against the glass, 187, 262 for one of these prices by the penalty box, for one of these tickets by the penalty box.
All right, now that's still cheaper than the NBA.
262 for two tickets. So I hit two tickets for each, so you're paying, I think, $55 for two tickets to sit by the glass, I think is what that comes out to. Let me hit continue and see what it comes out to here.
So can we support an NHL hockey team?
All right, tickets are 44 times 2 plus $11 in fees times 2. You're out the door for $110 for a Monsters game right behind the glass. For the 262, $569. No. Are people going to pay that price to go see the Blue Jackets in Cleveland? Once or twice a year?
It's a higher level of hockey. That's it for Lima Lakes. Just something to ponder. It comes up all the time.
It is. But do I know the difference? I don't know the difference. All I know is that they put on a hell of a show over at the Monsters.
I only scored 6 goals this weekend, 6 goals a game this weekend.
I mean, you think about it.
Entertainment.
It is
pretty good.
If I don't know what I'm looking at, and I don't know what I'm looking at when it comes to hockey, I just go, no, who gives me the better show for the better price? I don't know what they do down there in Columbus. I know what they do up here in Cleveland. They put on a hell of a show, and you're not paying.
I don't know, Owen. I'm one of those old hockey guys.
You are.
I don't need goals left and right. I like a good stalemate.
No, you don't.
I
heard you in the opening segment.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to sound like Ken with football. I like a 3-0 final.
That's not how that.
In the biggest game of the year.
That's not how that went.
That's what tickles my fancy.
I'm sorry. I like it when I like it when you have to put a spotlight on coaches.
Anthony,
I like it when a great head coach makes a bonehead move like he did to not kick a field goal to make it a 2-possession game when the snow's getting ready to come.
Anthony,
You're telling me there was nobody on that coaching staff to tell them that snows were coming?
If you hate the playing surface covered in ice like you did in the AFC Championship
See, these guys
game,
actually
I
don't
got bad
fall
news
down
for you
every
about
3
hockey.
seconds.
Yeah.
These guys actually stood on their feet, unlike the AFC Championship
right.
game.
Keith is making fun of us, by the way. Can you believe you have to pay higher prices in the NHL versus the AHL? Like, yeah, I know, but that's the thing is, are you going to pay $5.69 out the door and 77 cents for one game to go see the Blue Jackets compared to $110? I'm talking on the glass. Come on, you can't beat that. Come on, I sat on the glass for a Monsters game. It was awesome.
Wow,
cat's
Congratulations
ass
on all your success.
Thank you. It's a hell of
How
a
much
time.
do those cost you?
Let's not discuss that. Let's not discuss that. Daryl Ryder joining us at 8:20. Coming up next. Oh, you want to fight over paternity? We'll fight over paternity on The Fan.
XTENDAV.
I just actually have some more faith that I think he's going to get the most out of whatever you have there.
It wasn't the enthusiasm and the expression that you would have if you're like, we're getting rid of this guy in a month. Where I can do nothing with this guy. That wasn't that, and I think that's what a lot of people are excited about.
The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Hot off the presses, we are looking for a winner. Enter the code SWING, SWING at 923thefan.com. Before 9 a.m., your chance to win a pair of tickets to the Cleveland Golf Show, February 13th through the 15th at the IX Center. Unbeatable deals on golf equipment, accessories. Get tickets and info at clevelandgolfshow.com. It's all for the Golf Show and Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
216-474-0092, hot button issue time. Paternity leave. Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, who used to be with the Cleveland Browns, then became the general manager of the Vikings, and then, boy, you want to talk about having to pay for a quarterback decision. Holy potato salad. Does that mean J.J. McCarthy's going to be on the market soon?
Man.
I mean, that is clear punishment for J.J. McCarthy, is it not? Like, that is what that is. I mean, I've read everything, and they can try to explain it as best they want, but you got one guy who's getting ready for the Super Bowl here in 6 days, and another guy who his future's up in the air. And I know this, guys, we're going to see more and more of this. And Ty Simpson, and let me say this real quick before we get going with this. Ty Simpson and J.J. McCarthy are different people. But you're going to see more of this. Later, first-round guys who this is a desperate league. And the Browns have done this for a while now. So you guys are well-versed in this. But you guys are going to see more and more of this. Guys who come out and they're going to see stuff that they're trying to tell themselves about it, because I remember the whole thing about J.J. McCarthy. Look at the third down. Look how he throws people open across the middle on third down. Look at what he does on third down. It seems he can't get his head out of the clouds, and when he does, anytime anything bad happens to him, he ends up with an injury. I mean, he's been hurt the first 2 years of his career. And maybe he's able, and maybe it becomes something that, just like Sam Darnold, maybe he goes somewhere else and he gets a second chance. We're seeing a lot of guys who are these retread quarterbacks start to have a future. That's possible, but again, it might cost you your job, because that's what it seems to me. But this was back in around 2023. Diana Rossini had this report about Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, who took paternity leave after the birth of his child. Took 2 weeks after the birth of his child, and this was during training camp. And apparently the Minnesota Vikings were supportive of him. They were supportive in the building. However, there were plenty around the league who, according to Diana Rossini of The Athletic, were very surprised that you would take 2 weeks of paternity leave off during training camp when your kid's born. And I'm not trying to curry favor with anybody. I know it's serious business to them. It's also an entertainment business. I mean, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah is not running to fires. He's not a doctor. He's not EMS. He's not a police officer. He's not a fire chief. You get what I'm saying here? Like, have we or have we not discussed, or have we not found out before? It's like, yeah, if you can take the 2 weeks, great. But there are some lives where you can't. Football's one of them. I'm sorry. I know he's general manager. I know it's an important position. I don't understand why it was a problem to take 2 weeks because his kid was born. Now, maybe you pay for that to have the au pair or the nanny take care of it because you're making millions of dollars. Maybe that was part of their problem. I don't know. It wasn't the Vikings' problem. It seemed to be everybody else's problem. Go ahead.
Listen,
I just want to have a real discussion without any of us having to apologize.
No, it's fine.
Because this has happened before.
I laugh because after the fact, people are trying to cover themselves because they don't want to look like they're when you actually have to put names in print or anything. It's just not anonymous sources. Of course, people are going to say that they're in support of being able to support your family, right, and manage that situation when your wife, significant other, has a child, also depending on how grueling that experience is. For some, it's not. For some, the babies just pop out. For others, it is 24 hours of labor, maybe a C-section, and there's a huge recovery. As someone who's been on the other end of that situation, I've seen it firsthand. However, I do think there are people in any workplace who look and they go, come on, especially when they're making the amount of money that they're making in the NFL. And those scouts that work under him and are working the the 80-hour weeks and traveling across the country.
But they don't get the 2 weeks?
It would not surprise me that they're like, I would never be permitted to be away from my job for this period of time. People would be looking at me sideways if I were to do that, but he gets to do it. And the minute you start losing games or you make a bad quarterback decision, then those voices get louder and louder and louder, especially when his drafts have been a bit of an issue.
So when we had ours, and you're right about the drafts being a bit of an issue. When we've had our kids, you, me, Owen's not had any kids while he was on at the Fan.
I took a week both times.
Well, I took a week all 3 times. Actually, no, the one was born during football season, so I took the week after football season.
Oh, and I got ripped. Social media, I got ripped for taking a week. It just comes with the territory. You're doing sports talk radio.
But you understand it's a blessing to say this. We get ripped anytime there's any day off. Like, we got President's Day off in a couple of weeks. We will get cussed out on Twitter. That will happen.
Sure.
Which is a blessing, by the way. That's one thing. I think busting your stones on social media is one thing. To actually be sincerely going, oh my gosh, what? I mean, really? 2 weeks? I think the only reason you do that is because, if you were a person who's in your 60s and you didn't take any time off, you're just jealous of the next generation of what they get. Like, hey, we got 2 weeks. I work with guys over there at the TV station. They took 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm going, and your first thought is going, well, what needs to be done for 6 weeks? It's your time. You can take your time if you want your time. But we're not working you with uranium over there. Okay, it can be covered. Let's not get crazy about this. Okay, it can be covered. I took a week off at a time. The other 2 were born in the summertime, so it was easier to do. Football seasons. And by the way, my wife was very pushing about not taking time off during football season.
Okay, but for him, this was, and again, I'm just going through the reporting. This was the epitome of football season for him, and he is the GM of a football team.
I understand you got to make sure you have your rosters ready, but he can't do this remotely?
Well, so
he's the general manager. He's not the head coach. He's not a position coach.
And for some background, very similarly to it was like Sashi Brown, guys coming from other walks of life that got into football and were on a rocket ship, right? This is not somebody who had to go through. You've met scouts before. That is not for everybody. The scout's life, and that's where GMs always used to come from.
Yeah.
They used to be former scouts that used to be road warriors that used to be, and I know a handful of guys that do this, and it is not just a 40-hour-a-week thing. They are living on fast food, and they are staying in bad hotels, and they are doing this, throughout the entire season. And then when it's not football season, their work, it like doubles in other categories. So especially you get a little breather after the draft, but then you get right back to it. And I bet you there is a lot of jealousy that this is a guy that came from Wall Street, and next thing you know, he's running a football team when all these scouts feel like, I'm putting in my time.
So that's ultimately what it comes down to.
He never put in his time.
Like, guys, I just think, and I know we love to do this. We love to test our masculinity against other men. Like, if Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah was just a fall-down loser and couldn't hold a job and couldn't support his kids and couldn't support his wife and couldn't support me, then I'd be critical of him. You took 2 weeks off during paternity for a paternity leave. You took 2 weeks off. I don't think he has soft hands because he took 2 weeks off for paternity. I just don't. But
you know what? It looks to some of those people in the building. They're like, remember, there were holdovers from the previous regime. What, the Rick Spielman regime? Is that what it was in Minnesota?
Yeah, and that's a different generation.
So that was football guys, and now here comes the Ivy Leaguer from Wall Street who's taking paternity leave. That sentence alone is going to get people against him and trying to get in the owner's ear. You know how that works. And the funny thing is, like his record...
You're not wrong, but you have to come down to the same point as what we did. It's jealousy right there. That's exactly what that is.
Well, and then you look at his record. So I look, Andrew Berry in 6 years has won 45 games. In 4 years, they're 43 and 25. They've won a lot more than the Browns have in that time span. And yet he's out of a job, and Andrew Berry's still clinging to his job. And some people say he's never been safer in his role. So it's interesting that just the wins weren't enough to keep him employed there. It was the big quarterback decision, the Sam Darnold decision, obviously is haunting him.
ultimately, it wasn't the 2020. I mean, he's still the general manager going into this weekend before he got fired. So that wasn't the reason. But I think you kind of nailed it, because I think there is some jealousy because guys have spent their life in it, and that would breed distrust because it's their club. Football can be, professional football especially, can be a very closed club, and they do not like outsiders coming in and the things that they dedicated themselves to, the things that they had to do to earn it. Things change, and a lot of people can't accept that. But over paternity leave, I just found it to be typical, old style, silly. Like, yeah, there are jobs where it's like, you really can't take it. I mean, that's life and death jobs. That isn't the NFL. Okay? And he's a general manager. It's not even like he's a head coach. Not even like he's a position coach. He picked him. They got to get it figured out after he picked him. 216-474-0092. It's not like he can't work the phones while he's sitting at home. I mean, gosh, we've all had phone conversations while holding the kid, feeding the kid. Coming up next, the dangerous one, Daryl Ryder. Jim Schwartz, is he willing to come back and rejoin the Monken Man? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app.
Anthony Lima.
It's the 92.3 The Fan off-season special with the latest on the Browns tonight from 7 to 9. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
All right, will Jim come back to the fold? Did he leave his boxes packed, or does he have to put the things back in the boxes, drive all the way back, and then put them back up on the walls? For those answers, we reach out to Daryl Ryder, who's brought to you by
Diamond Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Hello, Daryl.
Hello, boys.
It's good to talk to you, my friend. Is Jim Schwartz coming back?
I have no idea, but I think the longer that this goes on without him finding work elsewhere, I think the odds improve. And listen, we've had many an instance with the Browns where people have wanted out and they ultimately end up staying. So,
okay, Lima, go ahead.
Well, wouldn't say it was a vicious debate, but we definitely went back and forth about what life would be like if Schwartz did come back, just given how the reporting surrounding it. They made it sound like he threw a temper tantrum out the door. I don't know if it was that bad. I don't know what you've heard, but is that a situation where the Browns would 100% welcome him back and Todd Monken would make a plea for him to be the DC, or do we think Monken's got other ideas?
Well, it was, I wouldn't say a temper tantrum, but he blew up. He was not happy that he didn't get the job. He used some colorful language in expressing his displeasure, and understandably so. But as far as coexisting, I mean, my concern with it would be that if things are not positive and productive early on in the season, right, things aren't going well, then you could potentially, and I'm not saying this will happen, but you could potentially have a situation where Jim Schwartz would be sitting there saying, see, you should have hired me to be the head coach. So I think that that's obviously something that Todd Monken and the organization is going to have to evaluate. They're going to have to sit him down and talk to him and see if cooler heads prevail, because, Schwartz's reaction is completely human and understandable. 2 times he's tried to get this job, and the Browns have gone in another direction. First it was Kevin Stefanski, now it is Todd Monken. And so, they just, I think, have to let the situation cool off a little bit and then, get together. I think Philadelphia is the only viable option if Vic Fangio decides to retire there, or they encourage him to retire. The fact that San Francisco filled their defensive coordinator spot, I think, bodes well for the Browns keeping Jim Schwartz, because I kind of felt like the 49ers would have been a real good spot for him to land.
Daryl Ryder joining us. Well, if you were Todd Monken, would you want him back?
Well, again, I mean, I'm not in the room, so.
Well, I'm asking you your opinion. Would you want him back?
No, I know, but there's variables to go with that, right? I mean, if I put myself in Todd Monken's shoes, I have to be crystal clear. Obviously, I'm in charge. This is my team, my staff. You need to be on board with what we're doing and how we're going to do it. Obviously. I'm going to give Jim the latitude to continue doing what he's done the last couple of years as far as running the defense goes and whatnot. But I do feel like there has to be a very clear, defined meeting of the minds on that. So, I do feel like that there is some repairing that needs to be done. And if you're able to do that, and if Jim Schwartz is on board, then I keep him. But if there's going to be some friction there, then I don't think you can keep him, because you can't walk into the door if you're Todd Monken and know that you've got this headache already that you have to deal with your defensive coordinator. And so that's just kind of where I'm at. So if Jim is on board with everything and has kind of calmed down and taken a step back and a deep breath, then sure.
All right, Daryl Ryder with us right now. So what do you make of the hires that you've seen thus far with the staff? I saw they added a quarterback coach. What do you know about any of these guys that are being brought to Cleveland?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's rating the Ravens staff, and certainly like that, right? I mean, the Ravens have a winning program, so that is, I think that is a positive. The Daniel Stern hire, I think, is potentially the one that's got, obviously that's the one that's got everyone's attention, right? When you're talking game management, but I think that the separator is this, the offensive staff that Monken is putting together. I don't know that Nate Schillhouse or a Grant Udinski, their Rolodexes are that deep when it comes to that. And, when you're going through this interview process, we've talked about it, the potential for staff additions, that is a big part of it. And that is what a lot, certainly gets teams' attention. So, just looking at some of the names on the list, I think he's doing a pretty good job there. And again, they're trying to keep the defensive staff together. That's pretty clear right now. And obviously one way to do that is by bringing back Jim Schwartz. But, the staff assembly is a big piece to that puzzle when you're hiring your head coach. And like I said, there's some pretty good names on this list that Monken is putting together here.
All right, Dale, we had some fun at the end of the show on Friday when the Browns unleashed brand new video of Todd Monken in the building. And one of the first guys he shook hands with and embraced with was Shedeur Sanders. We did not see Dylan Gabriel in the building, and we certainly know that Deshaun Watson was halfway across the world.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I think that the Monken hire could potentially be good for Shedeur. I will say this. There's a reason the Browns put things on social media. They know what they are doing. So I'm not going to try and read too much into that exchange, but it was very difficult not to notice.
Starting quarterback week one. Let's call it. Call it now.
And the fact that the clip that they put out there was, we wanted to draft you in Baltimore. That was very interesting to me. So I think it could be very good for Shedeur as far as him getting an opportunity here to be the starting quarterback. Ken, I mean, we had these conversations late in December, and I said I would have no problem, and I felt that they absolutely should give Shedeur Sanders the opportunity to be QB1 in September. I'm not going to sit here and hand it to him. Give him the opportunity to compete for the job, a tangible opportunity, all right? And that means first-team reps during OTAs and minicamps and training camp. Give him an opportunity to be the starter. Give him a chance to win that job. I don't have a problem with that. Don't need to hand it to him, but I think that Todd Monken will give him that opportunity.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, if he goes out there and looks terrible, then fine. I guess we got to go to Deshaun Watson or Dylan Gabriel or Steve DeBerg or whoever they were to bring in off the heap or whatever. I mean, that's fine. But why is that so hard? We got two clips of audio that we're going to want to play here coming up at 8:45, Daryl. Mm-hmm. And I think to a lot of us, it just seems to be like, yeah, he's young. I know that he's at the bottom of every metric. There's no way I can dance around that.
Right.
But I've definitely seen worse quarterbacks play for the Browns. And some people get upset and go, wow, you're setting a high bar there. And I go, no, I know it's a low bar, but I've seen worse. I know that there's not a great investment that they can make right now unless they did something almost unrealistic. Right. Why are there so many media members who don't get that? I'm going at the media here. Why are there you get it, I get it. Lima's called a hater. Lima gets it. And there seems to be so many, they just need to move on. I go, why? Why do we need to move on from him, of all people?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to speak for other media. I can just speak from my view. I saw enough upside from him where I feel like it's worth an opportunity. Now, I realize from a statistical standpoint, he put up worse numbers than Dillon Gabriel did. But if you watched the way Shedeur played versus the way Dillon Gabriel played, advantage Shedeur Sanders in my view. So, I again, I feel like that there's something there. And he won 3 games. Or the Browns, I should say, won 3 games with him as the starter. He had a chance to win a couple of others that youth and inexperience cost him, and that's okay. That's part of the process here. And so if he can show that tangible progress, learning from those specific situations, and look, Todd Monken, the great thing about him is that he's not stuck in his ways as far as like an offensive system. He's always adapted to players, and he likes a player that can extend plays at the quarterback position, which that's Shedeur Sanders. So that's why I said earlier, Ken, I think that this hire could potentially be good for Shedeur. So with the off-schedule stuff and everything else, I do believe there is something there with Shedeur. It's whether or not he's willing to listen, whether he's willing to put in the work, whether Monken and his coaching staff are willing to be patient, because there are things that Shedeur was asked to do in the last 10 months that he's never been asked to do in his football life. Okay? There's accountability that Shedeur has had to deal with in the last 10 months or so that I don't think he had to deal with previously since getting drafted. All right? The social media attention and the keyboard warriors that are in his corner, and that, I don't really care about that stuff. That's immaterial to winning and losing football games. Can it be a distraction? Sure, but I think it could be a distraction only if you allow it to be a distraction.
Well, that's interesting. Dale, that part is interesting because he admits that him and others that are part of that coaching staff when he was here in Cleveland, they created their own distractions. How do we know that's not going to happen this time? And what happens that first time he has to maybe either bench Shedeur and have to take the wrath from the fans and some of the outspoken former players? Like, how is that going to go down with Todd Monken, who seems to be a pretty straightforward, tough-talking guy?
Well, he has to be empowered to be able to bench Shedeur. Like, there's another dynamic to this, right? I mean, there's a very collaborative effort in that building, and sometimes it's good, but sometimes it's not good. And I have for years railed against the way they do things out there, because if the way they do things in that building was a positive, they'd win more games, okay? It's been very consistent as far as the disappointment on an annual basis. So if Todd Monken is completely empowered to run the show from a head coach's perspective, then fine. And if it becomes his decision that, hey, Shedeur's not playing well enough, we got to sit the kid down, he's just not ready, fine. That's the way it should be. There should not be people in that building telling him what to do. There should not be people in that building telling him he needs to fire a coordinator. Like, these are things that he should arrive at on his own and be responsible for on his own. That is very, very important here in this process, and hopefully that is something that he hashed out before taking this job, because, again, there are folks in that building that do influence decision-making processes.
A game in Paris. Mike Garafolo put out a list of games. That Browns-Saints game is not on there. Right. But there's a French outfit putting it out. Do we know anything about this yet?
Yeah, no, and we're not going to know anything until, I believe, April, maybe late March. That's usually when the NFL starts announcing some of these international games. Of course, they actually push schedule release back into May now because, the NFL just doesn't dominate the news cycle throughout the year quite enough. So we're not going to know anything official. The league tries to keep that buttoned up. So if, in fact, That is true. Week 7, I think it was October 25th, Browns Saints in Paris. If that's true, I'm sure the folks in New York are very unhappy that word got out, because they try and keep that kind of news buttoned up. We'll see if ultimately ends up being true, but we're not going to have definitive word on that from the league until the spring.
Dangerous Daryl, thank you very much for the time. We'll talk to you Friday.
You bet, guys. Have a great week.
Daryl Ryder, brought to you by
Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Yeah, Mike Garofolo putting it out. The international sites. One game in Melbourne, Australia. We'll be coming off a bye week or going into a bye week on that one. Good God. One game in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. One game in Munich, Germany. 3 games in London, United Kingdom. 1 game in Madrid, Spain.
Now, personally,
Paris is not on there.
I love the thought of the Paris game would be very early, right? We'd be talking about another early kickoff. I like one of those. Now I feel bad for the bars, right?
When the hell are we going to watch the Australia game? And it's summer there. It'll be hot, right? No, winter.
It'll be spring. It's opposite.
I don't know. All I know is from the Simpsons episode where the toilet flushes the other way.
Mainly about the toilets.
Yeah, okay. And the booting. Whoever loses has to get the booting. Coming up next, no bigger example of the difference in our lives and the Browns' lives than the 2 clips we want to play for you. And it has to do with your quarterback. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on that absolutely free Odyssey app and go get some of that Daisy Dip this week. You got the big game coming up on Sunday. Oh, you want to make sure you're stocked up. All the chippies, all the veg.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
When there's news that affects the Cleveland sports fan, Daryl Ryder is on top of every headline. Listen to his reports on the station with the most local sports talk in town. 92.3 The Fan, powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Listen to 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn app.
Two clips for you that could not be more of an example of the difference between our lives and the Browns' lives. That's in moments. Folks, if you missed a moment from this show, use the rewind feature on the free Odyssey app, powered by Integrated Restoration, your local experts in water, fire, and storm disaster restoration. Which one you want to get to first? You want to get to let's get to Todd Monken, the Monken man, meeting Shedeur Sanders. This happened at the end of our show on Friday. Lima and I, very excited, did the wrists up, did the whole thing. Here is Shedeur meeting Todd. This was on Brown's social media.
How we doing, man? Good. Then we tried to draft your ass last year. For God's sake. It's all worked out. Yeah. You remember that, right?
Yeah, that's what I was about to tell you.
Someday we'll get a chance to talk about that.
Yeah.
Todd's excited. Shedeur's excited.
Wait. So what's that all about, though, that part of it? Because a lot of people were noting, like, the Ravens had the chance to draft him. And we knew about the reporting.
We didn't want to go there.
Well, so is that now officially validated? Like, is that what Monken's saying when he goes, well, we'll talk about that some other time?
Apparently, yeah, I guess.
Deion said that Deion didn't want, Baltimore reached out, said they were going to draft him, and they said they didn't want to go there.
I know. It's just funny that when that happened, people went after the media for even putting that story out there that Shedeur would be happy playing for anybody, that this was a media-contrived story. I found it funny that, like, right there, he's telling him, we tried to draft you. And then what did you make of Shedeur's reaction to all that?
I thought he was jovial to see Todd Monken. I don't remember people going after the media saying we were making that up. Do you remember that?
No. Deion said it on the New Heights podcast.
No, but before that came out, remember the leak? The leak came out when we played the Ravens that week.
Yeah. Okay, week 2, yeah.
Guess I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, that was a big story.
We've had a lot of conversations. I don't remember being accused of planting something.
A lot
or
of
faking
10 a.m.
it.
drinking.
Yeah, a lot of 10. Well, I mean, there's boozing going on. I mean, what are you going to do? So there's one clip. That's Todd Monken meeting Shedeur, audio courtesy of the Browns social media pages. And then this is Connor Orr and Albert Breer. Is it the Monday Morning Quarterback podcast?
Oh, yeah.
Here's Connor Orr. Here's the other side.
If I'm Monken, I'm saying this is just my internal calculus. I've waited this long to get a head coaching job in the NFL. I am 59. This is never happening again.
Yep.
Okay. This is it. I got to make this work. I got a 5-year contract, and then it's Key West. Okay. After this, if I survive all 5 years, which I, statistically probably not going to. And so I got this quarterback over here that every team in the NFL passed up for 4 different rounds. Okay. And if I cut him and I let him go, maybe someone will pick him up. But what are the chances that guy has a Saquon Barkley effect on me and makes me look like an idiot for cutting him? Versus what are the chances that I'm stuck with him? I got to play him at some point. He does something in a game that makes me look stupid, or the Sanders Inc. comes in here and makes me look like right? Like that's how you kind of got to weigh that if you're Monken, right?
That's
I mean,
an interesting question. And
that's my calculus is like,
Yeah, and I agree with you. And if it was Todd Monken making that decision in a vacuum, I think it's a real debate, but I don't think it's Todd Monken making that decision in a vacuum.
Right. And I think that's part of the problem. That's how we get here.
So what does that mean? What does that little extra part mean right there?
Well, I think
Are they saying that Todd Monken would move on from him if given his druthers?
If it were up to Todd Monken that this is his only shot in the league to be a head coach. Last time he was here as defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator, it was one and done. That are you putting all your eggs in the Shedeur Sanders basket based on what you've seen so far?
Well, I don't think anybody but his most ardent supporters are. I want him to start week 1, but I'm not. Like, if he goes out there and he sucks during training camp and he hasn't improved at all during the offseason, Well, you got to put your best foot forward. If Deshaun Watson were clearly better, then hey, man, I'll make the rules, but you got to try to win some football games. I guess Deshaun Watson goes out there and plays.
Are you saying open competition? It has to be an open competition.
No, I would give him the leg up. I'd give Shedeur the leg up.
He's not competing for it. He just gets it.
No, I don't think there's any such thing as an open competition. I think every team that has an open competition, they have a guy who they want to win it. And I would have if you want to have an open competition, fine, but I'm going to put air quotes up that entire time and throughout the entire training camp. Because if I own the Cleveland Browns, yeah, I'd want Shedeur to win the job.
Well, who's got the most talent in that room? I know that's come up.
I guess it still probably would be Deshaun Watson.
So how does Deshaun Watson not win that competition if it's a competition?
First off, I mean, I don't think fans want to see him. I do think the surgeries.
Oh, you think they should take the fan sentiment into account in a competition?
You asked me, and I'm giving you the answer. I mean, again, if he's clearly head and shoulders the best quarterback, and they got to pay him, okay, fine, go ahead and play him. There's other ramifications there, but I mean, if he plays really, really well, we don't need to worry about that. I just don't think he's going to play really, really well. I would be more if Deshaun Watson had to start week 1, as of right now, I'd probably be more disappointed in Shedeur. Because I don't think that they really want to start Deshaun Watson. I don't think they really want to play Deshaun Watson. I would go into this year, and this is the part where I saw the YouTube comments. There was definitely some things I disagree with Daryl on, and I couldn't hide my face. I think that I agree with Daryl on the thing of they know what they're putting out. He's a popular quarterback. There's a magnetism, and I would want him to win the job. And I wouldn't just say Todd Monken's an idiot and say you have to play this guy. I would give him that, or I would give him that idea. My issue is that, to me, the reason why I played both of them, and this is a different discussion almost now, but it's like, hey, I don't like the obsession that we have, media guys have, radio guys have, with Shedeur fans and whether or not that dictates moving on from Shedeur. Like, it's not worth the squeeze. I don't know. How many different quarterbacks have we had that weren't worth the squeeze? Now, they didn't have fan bases like Shedeur, granted. But I'm not going to let that get in my way. It's not going to happen. I mean, you wanted to make the change. The change has been made. They can't all be against him. If he goes out there and he's not that good, yeah, Todd Monken has to make the call to move on to somebody else, and I would trust that.
You know, Connor and Albert Breer, and Breer obviously comes on weekly on the afternoon show. They saw a lot of the outspoken ex-players and some journalists that the extent of which Kevin Stefanski's reputation as a person, forget about football coach, as a person, the way that people, I mean, you saw the stuff that came out. We played some of the audio in the show that you weren't able to come in because you were tending to some other things.
My dad was in the hospital.
Yeah. We played audio from somebody down in Atlanta.
Other NFL teams would not like me tending to my father, apparently.
That's right. You can't take time off for that.
That's why you go. That's why you go back to the free Odyssey app and listen on Rewind. Go ahead.
So we had played audio, and we just chose one person, but there were a bunch of people that came out and said Kevin Stefanski can't coach here in Atlanta. He just can't be the coach after what he did to Shedeur Sanders, and they brought race into it. I think what Connor and Albert are talking about, like, is this coach right now, Todd Monken, after a decorated 40 years of coaching, is it going to be worth it? Is Shedeur good enough to put up with that? To be called the things that Kevin Stefanski's been called, which he had never been called before.
I understand, and I don't think it's true, by the way. Okay, on the record, but this is a league that has prided itself on treating the media like mushrooms, and that includes all media. That includes podcasters and former NFLers and guys that are just basically saying silly stuff. I mean, good God, the Emmanuel Acho stuff we played was incoherently stupid.
It was so bad.
From what we played on Friday and what he said.
By the way, credit the Shedeur people in the YouTube comments were like, what is this?
Because it's stupid. Because it's dumb. You make a change, it happens in the NBA. You make a change with coaches, you go to a different coach. It's like, I can only blame coaches so long. I can only blame coaches for so much of this before it goes on you. Fine. And I don't think, to me, some of that stuff is an insult to American intelligence of what some of the podcasters are putting out there. But I just find it ridiculous that this has been a league that it's prided itself on blocking out media noise. Like, not Roger Goodell and some of the other ones, that's different. But with coaches, staff, players blocking out the noise, they pride themselves on it. Now, of all of a sudden, Shedeur Sanders, that's the one where we just can't get a handle on any of this, and this guy's got to go. Why does he got to go? Why does he got to? I've had Austin Davis. I mean, you want to go down the cavalcade of terrible quarterbacks, and I'm supposed to draw my line at Shedeur Sanders?
I'll tell you,
I've had Austin Davis and God knows who
It's
else.
a little
I'll
thing,
go look it up.
and we had some fun, obviously, at the end of Friday's show. I love the fact that he was the one quarterback in that quarterback room that was in the building.
Yes.
When the coach was there. It's a little thing, but I guarantee those are the kind of things that if he keeps doing all those little things and obviously progressing, I mean, how cool would it have been if maybe we'll see some video down the road or whatever. How cool would it be if they talk ball, like actual football? I know that there was so much going on. Who knows? Todd Monken's head might have been spinning. But how cool would it be if he took a few minutes to say, all right, Coach, what do I need to do? What do I need to do right now to get better over the next month? Because he was the guy in the building. The other guys weren't there. And I think that it's not just an optics thing. I think that little thing is actually a lot bigger to some of those people in that building.
It's not about vengeance. It's about knowing what's right for the Cleveland Browns. That's coming up in 5 minutes. And also, speaking of what you just said, this is how I know Lima isn't a hater. I'll explain why next on The Fan.
Not only was Todd's head spinning coming back into Cleveland, he had to figure out where he's going to live.
Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Don't trust anybody with your Cavs coverage unless they have sports in their name. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
All right, it's a big opportunity here. Win a pair of tickets. Just announced, Post Malone presents the Big Ass Stadium Tour with Jelly Roll and Carter Faith. Thursday, June 25th at Huntington Bank Field. All you have to do to win tickets to this massive, not just massive, I should say, Big Ass Stadium Tour, Post Malone, Jelly Roll, and Carter Faith.
Name.
End of the word circles. CIRCLES. By the end of the hour, 923thefan.com to get registered to win, courtesy of Live Nation. Tickets on sale Tuesday, February 10th at 10 a.m. Ticketmaster.com.
Did you go to garage sales growing up?
Yeah.
See, we didn't. I always wanted to go, and we didn't go to very many. If we wanted to go to things like that, my dad would take us to Rogers, the flea market. We liked the flea market. The Carmans liked the flea. Dad wasn't big on, still doesn't seem to be big on, garage sales. But branding is everything. We were driving down Tusk one day. We're like right by Heggy's, and there was a sign out there. My dad was laughing because it said "Big Ass Garage Sale" with an arrow pointing down. I think it was Bellflower Avenue to go down to the house, and we went there because it said "Big Ass Garage Sale."
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, it's got to be a huge garage sale." And sure as hell, it was a big garage sale.
It was, in fact, a big ass sale.
It was a big ass garage sale.
No
There was
false
a lot of
advertising.
things.
Well, this will be a big ass concert.
Yep.
At Huntington Field.
Big ass tour and a great big concert.
Well, we
there
are
you go.
officially home to one of the big ass stadiums, which is really nice to know.
It's all true.
We're not getting passed up?
Nope. That's how this works now. It's a big ass city. That's how this goes. I didn't get killed as much as I thought I was in the comments about Jim Schwartz. I think is it turning into put up or shut up time about Jim Schwartz?
I bet you there is, to some extent, as you're seeing different roles get filled around the NFL. In fact, the 49ers just hired Raheem Morris as their defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
That was one of the landing spots. I know Daryl had brought up, Philadelphia is still looking for a defensive coordinator. So obviously there's knowledge there. I guess the question is, at some point there's a drop dead date that you have to give Jim Schwartz, because it's not fair to the new coach or that building. It's not fair to wonder who the defensive coordinator is. And, right now, can they even interview? I mean, he's under contracts. They can't really interview other guys for DC.
Not for DC. It's the same thing. Unless you were to, can you be an assistant HC somewhere and that's where it works and that's where it counts? I mean, I guess.
But you're right. They got to get the move on here, because it looks like we have our hires in place with the Raiders are looking at Kubiak, finalizing that, right, Clint?
It looks like that's who it is.
And
right? They're just waiting.
They can't do it until after the game.
And the Cardinals are finalizing thing with Mike LaFleur.
Yes.
So that's it. That means that all the head coaches are going to be hired, and that means that the next order of business for all these coaches, get your staffs in order. So we can't sit here waiting forever. So I'm sympathetic to what you started off the show saying. You're just you're a little concerned about that relationship, what that's going to be like if Schwartz comes back.
I play on emotions and I play on fear a lot about what's going to happen, but I also need to play on experience. I am not trying to scare anybody. I'm just trying to have common sense here. I'm not trying to play on emotions here. I'm just trying to have common sense. Jim Schwartz has done a good job, and I know because we've had so few coaches that we trust over the past 27 years, because we've had so many coaches that we don't trust, that we hold on to for everything we can to coaches that we do trust. He's one of the coaches that we do, one of the few ones. All right. He's also an assistant. So at some point, like again, what would you have done had he got the Ravens head coaching job? We all have to be, I don't think he probably had a serious chance to get the Ravens head coaching job, but you never know. Well, we have to be ready for these things if you're a head coach, and we have to be ready for these things as an organization. And I also go from the experience of, and again, it's not to scare anybody, you remember 2019, because Todd Monken was the dysfunctional coordinator in that scenario. Now, Todd Monken will definitely be more organized than what Freddie Kitchens was, But I don't think that that's going to change very much because I don't think that they're going to win very many games. And if they don't win very many games, we could say, well, they don't have a lot of talent. And they still got to build and this, that, and the other. Yeah, we're much more understanding of that in February than we are going to be in November. And when November comes around and people start circling the wagons and we start having these conversations about futures and things like that, as we do, because every team that's losing games does, is there or is there not going to be some sort of conversation or something in the back of people's minds about Jim Schwartz, this defense, and the offense that's still probably going to struggle? It's hard to be any worse than they've been over the last couple of years, so it's bound to be better. But they're still probably going to struggle with all the things they need to replace in such short time to do so. So you're inviting it. This is where I'd be open to it. Everybody say, well, just throw money at him. Just throw money at him. He's got money. This is about pride. You really want to do it this way? I'll throw more money at him. Fine. Maybe it is a ploy to get more money out of the Browns. I don't know why you got to pack up all your boxes and everything, but fine. Even if it weren't a ploy to get more you want, okay, I want him. I'll give you a raise. You can't make more than a head coach. Head coach is a head coach. Give him a raise, but give me an extra year. Because you could just take more money for this year and still be a problem for this coaching staff or for the head coach. Give me another year. You want out of here so bad, because that's obviously what's keeping him here is that contract. All right, you want more money, stay another year. I want proof that we are going to be committed here. You have to. I'm sure Jim Schwartz is a good guy. We got to protect against the protectables. So let's protect it. And give me till 2027, through 2027. That means that we're going to be all hunky-dory and trying to – it's not always going to be hunky-dory, but we have to work together as a team instead of backfighting and little things like that, which is bound to happen when you've already told everybody what your intentions are with this. And because we hold on to anybody we have like grim death, everybody gets all worked up about it. I'm not trying to just get rid of good football coaches. But if the situation calls for it, Tone, then that's what it calls for. I'm sorry. You have to move on.
Yeah, I just am a little nervous that not about Monken being the head coach. Like that's fine. Obviously, he's never done it before, but I don't see this going Freddie Kitchens route or anything like that. And it was interesting, the audio that surfaced over the weekend about him kind of owning up to some of the mistakes that were made when he was on that staff. So I just look at like all the defensive coordinators that the Browns have had, and Romeo Crennel was defensive coordinator on those early teams, right? Mm-hmm. So is he running like a UFO defense? Was that the Romeo Crennel?
I don't remember. That's a long time ago, but I think you might be right.
But you have to go back. Nick Saban was a very young defensive coordinator, but I mean Jim Schwartz has been as good as anybody, and I just don't want to create another hole for Todd Monken to have to go scrambling. So I'd kind of like an answer quickly here.
Well, I don't think, but is he scrambling unless his top three choices that he had have already found other positions. But I don't know. I think if you're Todd Monken, you had to go in thinking that, yeah, if I get the job, the other guy my same age, I think Todd Monken turned 60 this week. The other guy my same age isn't going to like this. And if he doesn't want to be the defensive coordinator anymore, I have to fill that void. How are we going to fill that void? Because you do have a very talented defense, and you want to make the most of it. And this is why I'm saying this. I don't think that Jim Schwartz has done a bad job whatsoever. I'm not one of these yahoos that I've seen throughout the last week since Jim Schwartz did what he did where he packed his boxes and left. I'm not one of these guys trying to find ways to rationalize losing Jim Schwartz. I understand. Misdirection, that was a problem against the Houston Texans. I had another buddy say, well, he let Carson Wentz go up and down the field. Well, how about the offense that wasn't able to score anything at all? I mean, for the love of God, wasn't it a 17-10 loss? Didn't they only score 17 points? I mean, 17 points is kind of standard, still decent defense in the NFL. I don't understand where that was the biggest problem in the world, other than Carson Wentz is old and terrible. All right, that sucks, but he's still a former number 2 overall pick. Like, yeah, every defensive coordinator, I'm sure there's games the great Bill Belichick wanted to get back when he was with the New York Giants. It happens. I'm not going to demean the job he did here. Jim Schwartz did a tremendous job here, but I got to look towards the future. And he's a great coordinator. He's a very good football coach. But he's a proud man, and you've already shown me how you feel about this, and I don't want to have to answer these questions because everybody to a person on this show says that they're going to win between 4 and 6 games this year, as they sit right now. When they win 4 to 6 games this year, I'd like to see another year out of Todd Monken. I don't want to turn right around and look for coaches and probably a new general manager right after this year. I'd like a little bit of a chance for Todd Monken to build something here. Okay, well, if we finish with 5 to 6 wins this next year, there's going to be drama with that defensive coordinator. I don't want to deal with it. I don't think they want to deal with it. So move on. Move on. Either he signs a contract. I say he signs a contract. He signs an extension with it because that keeps everybody honest for another year. Signs an extension with it through 2027. Or, you know what, we just got to go our separate ways and let him go a separate way. Or, I mean, if you want to hold on to him and try to trade him, you go right on ahead. But you got to find somebody else to do this job.
Do you think he'll get a head coaching offer if everything goes unbelievably this year with the Browns? Maybe they're one of the huge stories in the NFL. They win 10 games, and their defense is dominating. Is he getting a head coaching job the following year, or are they just not going to hire a 60-year-old defensive?
I just think old defensive guy is not where, even though you can be a great leader of men, and he was on my list, I just don't think they're going to do it. They might hire old offensive guy. Yeah. I just don't think they're going to hire old defensive guy. And we could talk about the problems with all that, but I think the Vic Fangio stuff kind of scares the hell out of everybody in the league, where he was the head coach of the Broncos, and that seemed to just be...
Salah's 47, I think. Hafley is 45, 46. And who was the other defensive coach who got hired?
I don't remember right off the top of my head.
Minter.
Jesse Minter is still 38.
Yeah.
So you got one young guy, 2 middle-aged guys.
But 60 is...
60's exceeding for some people. So
And Brian Flores, did he even get an interview?
I thought he got one
this year?
Didn't he get one with the Steelers?
Yes, with the Steelers.
Okay. Because Flores was on my list. Of course, there were people who said, Mike Pettin actually basically passed on the question when asked about Brian Flores. And some other people had some not so kind things to say either. But I don't know. If you coach long enough, I'm sure you're going to make some enemies. 216-474-0092. I'm in a weird spot because I'd love to sit here and say, bad guy, bad coach, get rid of him, part of the problem. He's none of those things. None of those things. He brings a great deal of professionalism, except last week. And he's already told you his intentions. And so maybe I'm just going to give him what he wants just so we can move on to the 2026 season. And hopefully we get a guy who can do some things with some of these players and put Grant Delpit in a position to succeed again because he had a wonderful 2025. 216-474-0092. So people want to get in. We'll get to you guys. And if the Cavs want to get to where they want to go, they probably want to move on from Darius Garland. But I'm afraid to say it. I'll tell you why in 5 on the Fan. Northeast Factor Direct, northeastfactordirect.com. Great.
first ever NFL regular season game in Paris. That report also saying the game will take place October 25th. Don't miss the 92.3 The Fan off-season special. Get the latest on the Browns tonight from 7 to 9. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
The Cavaliers are not better without Darius Garland. They would be better had they had Michael Porter Jr., Giannis Antetokounmpo, but not in general without Darius Garland. I think a lot of us forget that. 216-474-0092. Should the Cavs take a big swing? A lot of rumors out. The Cavs made a move over the weekend. Dennis Schroeder now with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Keon Ellis. You moved on from DeAndre Hunter, which that's going to put, as Lima brought up, that's going to put a little bit more pressure on Jalen Tyson when the postseason starts.
Who's been awesome.
And he's been fantastic.
Been unbelievable.
The Cavaliers have played an exceptional brand of basketball here over the last 2 to 3 weeks. 2 weeks have been fantastic. But there is the conversation because there's no Darius. So every time they play well without Darius, and they have to play without Darius several times because he's oft injured because he is undersized. But are the Cavs better without Darius? They're not better without Darius unless you're replacing him with somebody that's kind of unrealistic. Now, doesn't mean you can't call. Just means that you have an uphill battle because you have so many things that you can't do because of your cap situation, because your second apron situation. So, Lyman, we're kind of stuck in this spot where I think Kobe Altman, he knows. I think he knows and he doesn't want to admit. And I wouldn't admit it in front of the public either. I think Kobe Altman knows, this team is a good team. They just might not be built for the finals. I got it, but it's my job to get them as close as possible, and we might just be tapped out. So what do I do to rob Peter to pay Paul to make this team a real contender now? Is there anything that I can do, or should I stick it out? Because there might be some people that are playing so well, maybe hey, you got rid of DeAndre Hunter. He didn't want to be here. I think the Lonzo Ball contract, I think you're right about that. I think we're probably we in our final days of Lonzo Ball more than likely?
Yeah, it looks like they're just
so
dumping
maybe you move
him.
On from there.
I know they tried to play him last night, showcase him, and I don't think it's going to matter.
You showcased him all right.
You're going to have to incentivize dumping him on. I know the Wizards keep coming up, so you're going to have to include some of the second-round picks that you have down the road. Either way, look, we still all agree, even with them playing the way they are, they're a worse basketball team than last year, right? I mean,
yes.
Does anybody doubt that?
The Cavaliers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
they're worse?
Jalen Tyson has made this incredible leap, and he has absolutely made a leap, but Evan's been injured now. That's twice with the calf. Darius Garland, it's just been the one toe, now the other toe.
Would they be worse? Don't just give me records. Would they be worse if they were all healthy?
Yeah,
if Evan was healthy,
they'd play better defense if they were all healthy.
I still think they don't have anything like they had last year when not only was Ty Jerome just
their bench scoring
unbelievable, and DeAndre Hunter. Right. DeAndre Hunter, when he came here, was awesome. He was shooting 42+%, and he actually played well in 5 of the playoff games until he injured his dislocated his finger. So I don't think they're as good as last year, and I don't see them getting as good as last year. Does that matter? Because the East seems there's no big bad Boston Celtics of last year.
But I think this is where, and if you're gonna do something kind of foolhardy, I think this is the year to do it. If there's no big bet, like you just said, if you wanted to get nuts, and I don't know what you can do for the future. Like that's part of it. Like
it's the Giannis trade. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. But how do I make that all add up? Like I'll tank out the future if I have to give us the best chance at a championship now. Like nobody, if they ended up going to an NBA Finals and then just say they lost to like OKC or whoever, if they just went out there and lost, okay, then fine, you did everything you could. If they went out there and win, obviously nobody's going to have a problem with what Kobe Altman did. But I think that he knows, judging by the comments, I think he knows that this team is basically tapped out. But if you're going to do it, It's not just like, well, we can do what we can, but Jason Tatum's incredible, and the Celtics are just kicking everybody's ass. Like there's not really much we can do. Or the same thing with Indiana or anything like that. Even though Indiana didn't really get going to the second half of the season last year, like if there was something like that, but since there isn't, and it seems like the East is up for grabs, it's like, yeah, go ahead, go crazy. You want to go nuts? Go nuts. If you can actually finagle a trade with Darius Garland, it'd end a lightning rod of conversation with all of us, but if you can make it happen, go make it happen.
Yeah, now, obviously, you get your risks in a Giannis deal as well because, he's been injured. He's obviously, at his age, how is his game going to age because he's not a shooter? He still dominates when he plays. I mean, he gets to the rim at will. He gets to the foul line. Like, he's still a very dominant player when he plays, and also, when he's engaged. There have been some games I've seen of his this year, and it's like he wants out. I mean, there's no doubt he's actually now starting to voice, those complaints, and he's making it clear that he doesn't want to play there. I don't know whether or not Kobe Altman, I tweeted yesterday, there are two central questions, for Kobe Altman and this team, which is he's seen this team fizzle out in the playoffs. Last year, injuries were part of it too, but, you got to factor that in too. Is Darius Garland ever going to be truly healthy at the end of the year? And then you got to think about how exhausted, how spent, your superstar Donovan Mitchell is. And that's just after 2 rounds. Can you imagine him after 3 rounds or having to go, the full gauntlet of the NBA playoffs? Something that, we take for granted. LeBron James has done that so many times, win or lose. Like, you take for granted what that does to your body. And obviously Donovan Mitchell is not built like that. So you want to put yourself in the best position. Those questions are, though, does Kobe Altman truly believe they are championship contenders? Truly believe.
As they're made of right now?
As of right now. No. Okay. And so
do you believe that they're championship?
No.
Okay.
I do not think they can win the championship.
There you go.
You could always say, well, if they get to the finals and there are injuries, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about legitimately, do we think, what is the percentage chance you could see them hoisting the Larry O'Brien? They still call it the Larry O'Brien, or did they redo it? Is it now
They're
something
still
else?
calling it that.
Okay. Is that the case?
Was there something bad in Larry O'Brien's history?
No, I just thought they tried to redo all the awards at some point, whatever. So is this a team that
they tried to redo the logo. That's right. There was that conversation. Sorry.
Is this a team that can truly do it? And the second question, which may be even more important than that right there, because you always, even, I think Morey has said in the past, the GM of Philly, Daryl Morey, he said, well, if you have a 5% chance, you have to think you can win it. I'm like,
no,
that is low.
That
is low. Either way.
All right, I'll go 25%.
Okay. Well, the second part of that question, and I think could be more important, is Donovan Mitchell. Next year is the last year you have control over Donovan Mitchell.
That's why.
How's he feeling about all this? And so there is a risk here. By not doing the big move, let's say you had a real chance to go get Giannis. By not doing a Giannis deal, if they just lose in the first or second round in the playoffs again this year,
I want to know.
What is Donovan going to be doing behind the scenes? Because we know what he did in Utah.
He'll probably want out. Now, he's not going to make a big deal, make a big show about it. He doesn't do that. But let's just all be honest with each other. Let's not get caught in our emotions here. Let's just be honest here. Do you want it? This is why, if you can make some move for Giannis, obviously a lot of people would do it, but this is the reason why. Giannis has a player option through 27, 28, right? So even if he wanted to opt out, which he probably would opt out, 27, 28, before that season, he probably would want to opt out. Player option, right? I mean, we're up against it anyway. You just said it. At the end of this year, if you end up, if they get bounced in the second round, you're going to hear rumblings about whether he wants to do it or not. You're going to hear rumblings about Donovan Mitchell. So we're already getting ready to tap out on this as it is. What am I holding on to? Honestly, guys, what am I holding on to? You won 64 games last year in the regular season. You finished in the second round. It was a massive disappointment for everybody involved, all the fans and everybody. If there was a move that they could make, even when it comes to Michael Porter Jr. or something, who's on the Nets, and that's just a mess over there as it always is. Even if you had to make a move like that, it's what am I holding on to? Evan Mobley is not the unicorn that I've been hoping that he's going to be. He's a fine player, but he's not going to be Holmgren even or Wemby or anything like that. So let's call him what he is. Donovan Mitchell's fantastic, but he can only be one man, and he can't take it over all the time. Well, if you bring in a Giannis or Michael Porter Jr., it's going to change that. We can't get Darius Garland healthy as it is, and he's undersized. So if anybody wants to take him off, and somebody said contrary to what I say, oh, they love him around the league, then they should love him around the league to be able to make a move, but they're not going to make a move because we've been talking about him for 2 years, and nobody wants to move off their extremely talented wings for Darius Garland, unless we find ourselves in he's going to go, we got to get everything we can anyway, Giannis type of move.
Well, and then here's the other deal.
I don't know who says no.
Here's the other deal in this that always gets forgotten. And you imagine Giannis, and I'm not sure what his no-trade situation is. Like, can he pick his team at all if they run some of the trades by him? But my guess is Giannis would want to stay in the East for obvious reasons. Yeah. Why would you want to go in the West? And I mean, there's so many teams you could go to, and you're still vying for at the bottom of the the play-in situation. Like, if you're the Cavs, right now the East looks wide open. What if another team gets them in the East?
Well, then that closes you out.
Then not only did you not get them, now a team that is poised to make a playoff run, you might have to go up against them. That's more formidable than the Milwaukee Bucks potentially.
A motivated Giannis.
That you should be a little nervous about that because right now, as of today, Eastern Conference looks wide open.
Like,
what if a team finds a way to bring him in that actually has talent?
Then I think that all of a sudden you find where do you rank him right now in the East? Forget your Lima's power rankings. I don't need to play the music, but fine if you want to. Fine.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, Detroit still has the best record, but I think the Knicks. I still think the Knicks.
Okay.
Are the team, and I don't know, is Jason Tatum coming back or no? If he comes back, I might be inclined to have Boston be number 2.
Doesn't matter when he comes back. Does he need to get back here pretty
soon?
Pretty
yeah,
quickly,
I know there was a report that came out.
We're getting closer to nut cutting time.
Yeah,
here.
middle of last week there was a report that maybe he might not come back now. That's something to watch. Like, that's a big deal because Jaylen Brown is averaging 30 a game right now, and if Tatum gets back in, now that moves Derek White into his normal role and all these other tryhards that they've assembled around him. I'd be a little nervous about them as well.
Lima's power, New York, Boston. Oh, go ahead.
Just real quick, Giannis doesn't have a no-trade clause.
Okay.
Giannis, Boston, Detroit, then us? Philly, then us?
I think we're right there with Detroit.
All right, so are you willing to put us third in the East?
I think we could. Be. I know Detroit's the better regular season team this year.
Well, then you couldn't be more simple. Like, I don't know what you can do to make the trade. How do you even make the trade? Because then it's like, well, yeah, let's make the trade, but I don't know.
Well,
no one's holding on to these guys, but what do I have to work with? Are they just going to take Darius in return? Because
there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot.
You're doing that to liquidate for picks.
There would be a lot that would go on with the roster, would change big time. Now, they've done that before, way back. You remember the LeBron run. They made a couple of deals that wholesale changes, like the Wally Zerbiak trade. They've been, that was, a bunch of regimes ago, but, it can happen. And because the Eastern Conference is the Eastern Conference, like, you could still say, yeah, you need some time to acclimate, but, once you get into the postseason, now these other teams, it's just as hard to game plan against us, too, because they'll be a completely new roster.
216-474-0092. Deshaun in Cleveland, hello.
Hello, good morning, guys.
Hey, good morning, Deshaun. Go ahead.
First time caller.
Glad to have you.
I've been thinking about this trade, and this morning the first guy had the right team, but the wrong person. We do not need Draymond Green. We need to go get Jonathan Kuminga. You want a wing defender? Jonathan Kuminga. You want somebody to pick up the slack for DeAndre Hunter?
It doesn't bother you. It doesn't bother you that, like, Steve Kerr and that organization has just basically been out
Mike
on
Dunleavy
him for a long
Jr.
time.
Oh my God.
It bothers me because that's why we need to go get him. He's too talented to be on the bench. We need Jonathan Kuminga. And if we can't get him, we get rid of Jared Allen, Dean Wade, Darius Garland, and go get Giannis or Jeremy Grant. We need a big or we need Jonathan Kuminga. That's all I'm going to say.
What are you running them for?
Because Ken told me to. I didn't want to do it. Ken wanted to do it. I didn't want to do it.
Now, Grant and Tomlin looked like they were going to fight last night, so I don't know. The other name I haven't heard, By the way, I do not have a big desire for Jonathan Kuminga.
They're a good organization over there. Good God, you heard what they said about it. I demand a trade. Okay, well, there has to be a market to demand the trade.
The other name that I keep looking at is Michael Porter Jr., and the Pistons are hot on the trail of him. Michael Porter Jr. is having an unbelievable year on a bad team. And normally they say, hey, be careful about the guys putting up big numbers on a bad team. The difference is I've seen him in the finals and in big moments.
Mm-hmm.
That guy can play in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That guy can rebound in the playoffs. He if you need him to, at times he can sit out there and shoot. He's shooting 40% from three this year. He can create on his own. And that would be a big move. Like, that's not a Giannis move, but that would be a big move to keep, most of the core together.
Well, then should I have been more patient there with Deshaun in Cleveland? Because I'm just like, well, I got to put people next to Donovan.
Earlier we had a call about Draymond Green, and I was like, yeah, if this was 4 years ago. Like, I've watched Draymond Green. He could still play. Like, he's not a terrible player, but that I'm not sacrificing. There's too much that comes along with Draymond. And while he is a dog in the playoffs, like, that guy is going to get into it. He can't shoot. You don't have to guard him. And I know that because he's played with Steph Curry and before Klay Thompson, like, you could get away with it. I don't know if in today's league you're getting away with it.
Is a big swing time for the Cavs? Is now the time, or is it never after this? 216-474-0092. I'm going to get to some of you guys. And I said this earlier, and then I didn't tell you when we came back. I got to tell you, Lima is not a hater, and he proved it today. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. I'll tell you why he proved it at 9:43 on The Fan.
Brad Evans here to help you beat.
I'm only Swicey menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy tastes good. Participation may vary.
Hear all of the latest Cavs and NBA trade news right here, ahead of the NBA trade deadline, Thursday at 3 p.m. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Lima's not a hater. He had his chance to be a real, true hater. And a lot of the fans, we'll get back to the Cavs here in a second. Let me give Lima some credit here. I laid it all out. I put the mouse traps out there. I put the cheese on top of the traps. I was going to let Rat Boy go ahead and get himself caught in the trap. And Rat Boy didn't do it.
No.
He wanted to play that Connor Orr audio. He wanted to do it. And I go, here he goes. Here's his chance. I thought for sure you might start, let's just let's start fresh. Start fresh. What's the point? This is bad. Like, you could have done that. All you could have done was that, and you didn't do it. You didn't take the bait. Can we play the Connor Orr audio again real quick? Let's play that. Now, it's long audio, but let's play it. I know we're going to be running short on time, and let me make the point here. Go ahead.
If I'm Monken, I'm saying this is just my internal calculus. I've waited this long to get a head coaching job in the NFL. I am 59. This is never happening again.
Yep.
Okay. This is it. I got to make this work. I got a 5-year contract, and then it's Key West. Okay. After this, if I survive all 5 years, which I, statistically probably not going to. And so I got this quarterback over here that every team in the NFL passed up for 4 different rounds. Okay. And if I cut him and I let him go, maybe someone will pick him up. But what are the chances that that guy has a Saquon Barkley effect on me and makes me look like an idiot for cutting him? Versus, what are the chances that I'm stuck with him? I got to play him at some point. He does something in a game that makes me look stupid. Or the Sanders Inc. comes in here and makes me look like right? Like, that's how you kind of got to weigh that if you're Monken, right?
That's
I mean,
an interesting question. And
that's my calculus is like,
Yeah, and I agree with you. And if it was Todd Monken making that decision in a vacuum, I think it's a real debate, but I don't think it's Todd Monken making that decision in a vacuum.
Right. And I think that's part of the problem. That's how we get here.
Audio courtesy of Monday Morning Quarterback. I couldn't disagree with it more. I mean, you guys check your mentions way too much. That's a guy who must have said something about Shedeur Sanders at some point, got a bunch of nasty messages, and then got caught in his feels. And hey, I know that some fans, they get real personal, real nasty, so maybe it's hard, but I just don't understand this. This is a different world. However, I set Tone up to take because Tone is one of them guys, and I set you up to take the bait, and you thought it was silly. You really did. I thought for sure you might be to that point of going, well, let's just start fresh with this guy. Do we really need the distraction? And you didn't say it.
Well, you're
not a hater.
Like I said, I don't think he's been a distraction.
You're a doubter, but I don't think you're a hater.
I have my reservations, obviously. But if it's so funny. The stuff that I have an issue with of him on the field, which I think anybody would, is just the cataclysmic errors during games. But he was a rookie. Rookies can make those errors. The big proving ground is coming up, right? Like it's how he's going to get retooled, the things that Monken can do to make things easier. Like, I know everybody's going to say, well, Kevin Stefanski didn't make it easy on him at all. I'm like, well, there were a bunch of layup plays in that offense that were set for him. He just was inconsistent, and we need to get back to him finding some of the accuracy that he had in college because he just, unfortunately, he was accurate on some deep balls, yes, but there was a lot of the intermediate throws. He's just got to get better at that stuff. And, hey, rookies, they can get better. This will be year number 2. So hopefully he's going to be given more of an opportunity. I think the difference I have with some people is I don't think he should be gifted the starting job. I don't think he's good enough. And you didn't take him in the first round. Like, first round picks, there is a difference. Like, I think where he was taken, I don't think he gets a guaranteed job or anything like that.
Do you think the Browns are going to guarantee him that job to start?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Jeremy Fowler's been on with us. He's been in some other spots in town where he's made it clear that he's been talking to some people with the Browns, and he thinks they are going to add to that room. Now, the question is, what do they do? Where do they get it from? Zach Jackson keeps talking about another second-round pick, third-round pick. Like, I don't want to do that. I'm not.
They're going to go back to the draft and get somebody?
I'm not real interested in, you know what that sets up to be. A guy that you've been mentioning that you do not like. Ty Simpson.
It's just a situation. I just wish Ty Simpson would go back for another year. Garrett Nussmeier.
I'm sorry.
I know, I understand. Garrett Nussmeier, it just didn't work out for him this year. He went back. Ty Simpson could go back, and all of a sudden he could turn into a pumpkin just like those guys did.
It's not that they have zero talent, right? It's like that would be a little different from Dylan Gabriel. I didn't understand from moment one. I just didn't. You didn't understand it.
No.
Nobody did. It's why the league was stunned when he went in the third round.
Yeah.
Overdrafted is what basically everybody has said.
Yeah.
And then we saw it. We actually saw it. It's like, what?
Yes.
This matches exactly what we thought it would look like.
Yes.
He was a little worse than I thought he was. Like, I thought he'd at least be able to hit screen throws.
Well, no, that couldn't.
Oh, my God.
Well, then it got to the point where he was afraid to throw the football at all. Like, I think that there were a couple times that Shedeur double clutched, but I don't think that he was really afraid to throw the football down the field or anything like that. I thought that Dylan Gabriel was sincerely nervous to commit a turnover at that point. 216-474-0092. By the way, before I get back to the Darius, I want to take one more call. Alex Van Pelt joining Kevin Stefanski down there. Thoughts? You see that?
I know. It's
thoughts.
Obviously we were, I think, way ahead of this when that happened. When some people were like, "Oh, I don't know who's responsible for that." I'm like, it's not Kevin.
It ain't Kevin.
Like, Kevin wanted Van Pelt to stay.
Could Kevin get Barry let go this year? If the Falcons do really, really well with that coaching staff?
Well, you know what? Hey, if we're good,
just asking questions.
Wait, listen, who cares if we're better? If we've made the strides that we're hopeful to make, and these draft picks land, then who cares?
Mm-hmm. In the words of the AI Shedeur videos that you constantly send me, I just observe things. Let me get to Jim in Olmsted Falls. Yellow.
Good. How are you?
Doing wonderful,
What's going
Jim.
on?
Not bad.
Are
Go
you
ahead.
good? That Wally Zerbiak trade made me laugh. I was trying to think who it was. That's pretty funny stuff.
There you go. Tone knows the history.
You guys switched right from when you came back from break. You went to the Browns. We were talking Cavs.
It's okay. What do you want to do with the Cavs? What do you want to do with the Cavs?
Well, you guys are going to think, I don't know if this works or not. Mobley for Giannis, straight up.
All right. There's like several people on hold that want to say the same thing.
Yeah.
So
I'm tired of waiting for Mobley to be that guy.
I kind of like
he's a good player.
Kind of like him to play together.
Yeah, why can't they play together?
If I could pull that off, that would be nice.
Yeah, if they want to go 2-on-5, I think we could pull that off.
Well,
but seriously, I'm tired of waiting for Mobley. This team is potentially ready to win now. Mitchell, right there. Jared Allen, not just because last night, but he's not a stud like he was. But I know the playoff thing. But the guy's a tough, just under the basket dude. So why not take advantage of it?
If he ain't got the pick, no, you bring up a hell of a question here, Jim.
Whatever. Yeah,
there's no whatever. You bring up a hell of a question.
Well,
because if he ain't got the picks, and Darius is like, thank you for the call, Jim. I wish I had more time with you. Are you going to trade Giannis for the undersized guard who's very, very good, a legitimate all-star, but also can't stay healthy and is the undersized guard? What are you more prone to do? Young wing versus older wing still in his prime, 1%er, or...
My hope is that you could convince them to gamble on somebody where if Darius had more of an opportunity to spread his wings, what could he be? Because that's not going to happen here, playing alongside Donovan Mitchell. Like, Darius, you could tell Darius thinks he could have a larger role.
I mean, there's a lot of guys who think they have a larger role. We just talked about Jonathan Kuminga, and we ran the guy off the air.
Yeah, I mean, Darius is so much more skilled than Jonathan Kuminga.
Clearly.
He just, unfortunately for him, doesn't have the size.
I understand that. But again, you're saying, what's the best form of Darius? Donovan? Is that the best you can get out of Darius? Because Donovan's great. Donovan is not in the same. He's in the stratosphere, but he's not in the same room as Giannis.
He's when he came into the league, the best comparison ever was that you were hoping he could be like a poor man Steph Curry.
Because I'll tell you straight up and down. I know we're talking about this, and we got till Thursday. Like, if I'm Milwaukee, the conversation starts and finishes with Evan Mobley.
Oh, I'd be asking for him. Yeah, I would.
So I mean, we might have had this big conversation. I know Darius gets people going, but the conversation ain't the right conversation in real life.
I mean,
what?
You'd hate to see him go with all this, but if it had to be like Darius, Tyson, and add pieces and parts to make the money work.
You get all 4 hours on this show. I don't know about whether or not the Arizona Coyotes were the Utah Mammoth at the beginning of the show, but you want 4 hours. You get 4 hours on this show. Lima just gave you something to think about for tomorrow. Big thanks to Daryl who joined us today. We're back tomorrow 6 to 10 for Big Country, for Jeff, for Lima, for Meredith. Now the slippery wizard Anthony Lima. I'm Ken Carman. Have a wonderful Monday, my friends. Go Cavs. Go Cleveland Cavaliers.
I know that they are always on the go. They travel, they read, they sing, and they dance. Always take life as a risk.